Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello and welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us. Holy shit, are we excited for this week. We have a wild episode. Hope you enjoyed Scottie Pippen last week. Wonderful. So many people were just like, what? Yeah. When we posted it, and people are like, what, Scottie Pippen's? What happened there? Oh my God. And then they listen, they're like, oh, Jesus. Wow. He really likes court, that guy, doesn't he? So he likes to be on the court, in the court. He's very much comfortable in court. This week, we have a completely different kind of story for you. It is absolutely batshit insane. Very, very little sports, because it's a sport we know nothing about. Zero. So rather than make fools of ourselves, we've done that before with this sport, so we're not going to try again. We're just going to kind of breeze past it and get right into the insane crimes that happened here, because it's a wild, wild episode.
Water polo.
A harrowing tale, we'll say. It's not water polo. It's rugby this week.
Excellent.
So it's a brain damage sport, which is always fun. But quickly, before we get into that, just want to thank everybody, number one, for your reviews this week. Thank you so much. They really do mean a lot to the show. They mean a lot on the business end. They help drive you up the charts on Apple Podcasts. So if you haven't done it yet, Apple Podcasts, that purple icon, give us 5 stars. Doesn't matter what you say.
I don't care.
It really does. Say, I'm trapped in a Thai prison, and this is what I need to do to get out. That'll work, and that'll make sense later in the episode.
Okay.
So, do that, please. Also, head over to Shut Up and Give Me Murder for everything. Tons of new stuff up. All sorts of merch up there. Get everything crime and sports and small town murder related. And if you've been waiting to listen to Small Town Murder, to check it out, it's a golden time right now. We highly recommend this is a good time to do it. There has just been a run of insanity the last, actually, pretty much all of 2020.
It's been great.
So check this all out. It's been crazy. Look over there. Also, on Fridays, check out P.S. I Hate This Movie, where I make fun of romantic comedies with my wife, and also different ones, because we did The Room last week.
Right.
And it was awesome. It was amazing. Dream come true. Making Sarah watch The Room was great. She didn't want to do it, and I forced her to. It's like, this is what I go through every week. Miss Congeniality. This is better.
Yeah.
This is much better. So anyway, let's listen to that too.
Here's what I deem horseshit.
This is horseshit here. So also get your tickets to live shows if they might be happening of any time. Who knows? Who knows?
It's so exhausting.
If you do have tickets, the shows do get canceled. They'll get moved, and you'll get transferred to whatever show it is. So you'll have tickets that'll just running tickets to the shows forever. Hopefully, we'll get to see it at some
frustration you
point.
feel when you find out that it's been postponed. Our agent who books these, the poor bastard,
he's like, oh God,
I have to email them again and ask them for more dates.
No, and then get with the venues again. It's one tour.
I didn't even make money on the last one.
He has to book the same tour 4 times. That's dude is earning his money. Those guys are Joe and Joe are earning their money. Sorry, guys. That's great. So if you want to be speaking of earning money, if you want to be a producer and help us earn money that we're not getting on the road, and you get plenty of bonus content, all sorts of stuff. Last week we did stories about my friend Rod Beck, so that was a lot of fun. People were asking for that. That was awesome last week. And then also Small Town Murder. There's tons of bonus stuff. It's usually not a murder, small town murder story. It's usually some crazy crime related.
Just to follow up, because I got maybe 10, no less than 15 messages. James, how did Rod Beck die?
Yeah. Oh,
we didn't say that.
Oh, we didn't say that.
We
well,
just
yeah,
said
it was a fun. I was having a fun thing. Yeah, he had a heart attack. So
there you go.
There you go. So you could probably Google search that. I think probably pretty easier than to email us, but that's fine.
An hour of fun ruined with he had a heart attack.
Yeah, I was having a good time. I didn't want to ruin it. Thanks. A friend of mine, So anyway.
Unbelievable.
You want to be a producer of the show and you have access to all this great bonus content and have Jimmie mess your name up at the end of the show when we talk about our producers. You can do that very easily. Patreon.com/crimeinsports or head over to PayPal and use our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com.
Right.
If you just want to be a nice person to make a one-time donation and be in our good graces. And
it's unbelievably appreciated.
Let's get into this.
Okay.
Let's do this. We're going all the way to Australia this week.
Great.
Sorry, Aussies. It's been a while since we've been over there.
We're not allowed right now.
And they're not going to let us in for a long time. So we're gonna go to Australia. We're gonna find a nice Aussie rugby player.
Great.
That had a bit of a tough run of it here.
Okay. Sounds like all of them.
Yeah, this guy. I would say this guy. The calamities that happen to this guy, the dominoes that fall, are really tragic here. Like, this is one of our most tragic stories. That's also gross and hilarious at the same time. So you're gonna buckle up, everybody. Right. Here we do. Let's do it with Paul Hayward. Paul Cecil Hayward, which sounds very British Empire.
It does.
Anytime you put the word Cecil in anything.
Cecil is the name of a dead lion or a hotel where horrible things happen.
Or an Englishman or a fat black home run hitter. One of the,
and that one too.
But
he pronounces it so different. I don't ever think of him when I think of the name Cecil.
Because Cecil and Cecil. Right. Those are two different, but it's the same name.
Southern black Cecil.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Cecil and Cecil. Right. Different names, but they're the same name.
Right.
Cecil Fielder is actually a skinny British man named Cecil. So if you don't know who Cecil Fielder is, look him up and you'll go, holy shit, that's not a skinny British man.
That is not a man in tweed.
No, he's got like furniture orbiting him. He's a giant fat bastard. Good hitter though. Man, could he crush some homers. So Paul Hayward, born January 11th, 1954 down in Sydney. So he is an Aussie boy through and through. His childhood isn't really out there much. He had such a crazy adult life that people wouldn't even, they were like, it doesn't matter where he came from because this shit is insane what's going on now. So who cares?
Great.
Seemed to grow up fine. Yeah. He grew up into an adult, didn't no SIDS didn't take him or anything. So we know that much about him. And he grows up. He's a good athlete all around. He's a rugby player. He's a boxer. In his younger years, he concentrates on boxing more than anything. He's really into boxing.
He'll serve you well in that sport.
He's a tough son of a bitch. If you're a rugby player and a boxer, you're probably not a guy you want to fight in a bar, I would say. He's going to fuck you up, I would assume. But the saving grace for the rest of everyone is he's only 5'6". Oh. So he's a little shit as well. But
at full-grown man?
Full-grown man, 5'6". But
I love it when I get to make fun of somebody.
Isn't that great? You're like, you little motherfucker. How dare you not grow an extra inch
you little
and
bitch.
match me? Jimmie gets to pick on someone for being small.
To eye line, and I get to call him a little bitch.
Listen here, mister. Need that off the top shelf? Allow me. There you
Want
go,
a
pal.
lollipop, little buddy?
There you go. I'll get that for you. Don't strain yourself.
We wear the same size shoe.
Yeah,
I promise.
like, shit.
Yeah,
you could switch clothes easily.
Yeah,
very easily,
with such ease.
Absolutely.
If he used a washer next to mine in a laundromat, we could easily be confused.
Accident.
I don't know whose is whose. I'm sorry.
Yeah, except he probably dresses different.
Probably.
His
Maybe
name
better.
Cecil's dressed different than Jimmie's with an IE. It's just one of those things. You don't get any different culturally than Cecil and Jimmie.
Yeah. You don't think he owns a rat t-shirt?
Probably not. I don't think he does.
What am I wearing? Skid Row?
You want a Skid Row t-shirt? Perfect. Youth Gone Wild shirt? That's nice. Yeah, I think...
That's honest to goodness what I'm wearing.
That's what I meant. I read it off the fucking... We are the Youth Gone Wild.
Unbelievable.
Indeed, fuckers. So he's a boxer, and apparently there's a... different stories fly around about his boxing prowess. Different articles will say he had 8 professional fights. Some people say he had 6 professional fights. I found 2 of record. There could have been more that were like, under the radar, but 2 that made it to Boxer Rec, which is like, those are official fights pretty much the way I look at it anyway. I mean, I'm sure there's, I don't know.
Maybe it was 6 or 2 that felt so long they could have been 6.
Maybe.
Little guys, listen. We throw throw punches, and they don't do much damage, but it lasts a while.
Well, he's a lightweight, so lightweights can knock each other out. He's not like a super flyweight. He doesn't weigh like 110 pounds. He's going like 145, 150. You can knock somebody out.
I don't believe you.
So it's all those guys are. So, and he's a rugby guy too. So he's like a thick-legged, sturdy kind of cat here. Apparently they say that when he was an amateur in the late 60s, that he was up for Olympic contention here when he's like 17 years old. For boxing?
Awesome.
But then later on, they say he was up for the 76 team for boxing, but he already had pro fights, so they wouldn't let him do it. Which I don't even know why he would be up for it if he already had pro fights. It makes no sense. He didn't
have a pro in the Olympics?
No, back then you couldn't.
Oh.
Up until what was it? A lot of countries did that until the Dream Team in '92 was the first time we had pros in the Olympics.
Really?
Before that, it was amateur only.
Well, that seems unfair.
If you had played one game there was a big controversy with Jim Thorpe back in the day in the 20s where he had played in a semi-pro game of some kind, and so then he was in the Olympics. So they wanted to take medals from him and shit.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, that's how it used to be though. We used to get the shit kicked out of us by other teams. By other countries' pros. And we were sending out our college kids.
Sending out the B squad?
Yeah.
Not even.
And then we were like, you know what? Hold on a sec. Jordan, Barkley, Bird,
we're going to keep this on the up and up.
Let's make up for the last 100 years, guys. Go ahead.
We're going to keep up. We're going to show you guys that we know how to do this too.
Exactly.
That's not fair though, because you can't have like professional swimmers against our collegiate athletes.
That's how you speak, professionals in it, because other countries wouldn't be so stringent about that sort of shit. But apparently Australia was.
Yeah. And then Michael Phelps shows you how to swim.
Exactly. No shit. So here's one article where it says he turned pro and was unbeaten in 8 fights. Okay. But then I found record of him. This is when he's 17 years old, pro fighting. So that's crazy. Almost 18, but still.
Yeah.
October 28th, 1971. And it sounds like him. The fight takes place at the South Sydney Rugby League Club. So, I mean, it would make sense. That's where he'd be fighting. He's from Sydney. He plays rugby. It all makes sense here. He fights a guy named Steve Campbell, whose professional record turns out to be 10-49-9.
Ooh.
Not great.
No.
This goes all 4 rounds, but Paul wins the decision.
Good. He fucking better.
So shit. Everybody else beat the shit out of that guy. Almost 50 guys. So then
35 kangaroos.
Yeah. That's the other thing. In Australia, we don't know what these fights consist of.
That's true.
He could have had to fight 2 koalas simultaneously, which I can't fault him for that.
Professional fight.
If you go 500 with 2 koalas simultaneously in your whole career, that's a pretty good record, I think.
Decent.
Yeah. And I don't even know what a good record against kangaroos would be.
Fuck. If you win one,
they're pretty tough.
It's pretty impressive.
I mean, 10-49-9 is a good kangaroo fighter, but fighting humans, it's not that good. That's the problem. It's a much better wildlife number than it is a human in a ring.
I don't know. I watched
supervision
that
number.
guy protecting his dog punching up a kangaroo last year.
That was awesome. Yeah,
those things can take a fucking punch.
Those things are badass.
He rocked it, and
those
didn't
things
move.
are badass, dude. Yeah, you're not fucking them up. They're wild animals. Like they're not.
He socked it up, and it stood there and took everything from it.
Yeah, they don't have like fear and shit, like the same type of fear. They either have run for your life or I'm going to kill you. There's no. They don't have like I'm a little tentative about this. He punched me in the face. Should I take another step forward? You're either prey or predator.
Kangaroos have about to turn into a carnivore. They aren't carnivores, right?
Beats the shit out of me.
They eat leaves.
I've seen them eating leaves in all the footage I've seen.
I don't think I've ever seen them eat a wallaby.
No, but then again, though, they always want to show you how cute they are. So anything that you want to show that it's cute, you're going to show it eating leaves.
Put some eucalyptus in its hand. It's adorable.
A big giant animal eating leaves. It looks cute as shit.
Right.
We see pandas. They're eating it. But they look cute. They would eat your face in a heartit.
Or is that just like the salad for a kangaroo, and it's about to just be bloodthirsty as fuck? Just eat 12 koalas.
I was going to say I ate like a good baker's dozen koalas, and you know what? I should really have some roughage here because it's going to be a rough one tonight if I don't. I really want
fiber.
I'm going to smooth this out on the way out because otherwise I'm going to blow out the whole system. I have a feeling it's
those enormous poisonous snakes I just ate.
Just
like a bowl of spaghetti.
17 pounds of meat's going to come out like a bowling ball. I better eat some eucalyptus leaves here. This is not going to be good for anybody.
At minimum, the mint will soothe my asshole.
I think so. That's how that's going to work.
All that ruse are fucking just bloodthirsty as shit.
Oh, they probably are, because we think they're cute. Anything that we think is cute is actually vicious.
There's sharp teeth under there.
Oh, yeah.
Like shark teeth.
Yeah, like people like monkeys and chimps and shit. And they're the most vicious things in the world. So.
Holy fuck. I watched a documentary. I don't remember what it was, but it was the largest and growing population of chimps in like the Amazon or something.
Yeah.
It's getting bigger and bigger because they're taking over other...
Oh, they're like a cartel.
Yeah.
They're not fucking around.
And they're like getting more
organize because they're smart.
Fucking pummel each other to death.
Yeah. No, they have little battles. Yeah. It's messed up.
And you don't know what it's over because you can't fucking ask them.
You know what's funny, though?
Yeah.
We could come in and dominate them in 3 seconds. They're doing all that. They're taking over the whole jungle. We could come in with nets, a helicopter, and some shotguns, and the jungle would be ours in one day, and it would just fuck up their whole... You know what we should do? We should do that. Yeah. Then let them go, but just fuck up their little chimp psyches enough to where they know
that shit's
if they push it too far, it's going to be over. Like in prison. Right. Like the prisoners could do a certain shit, and then when they go too far, they start rioting. Here we go with pepper spray and fucking non-lethal shotgun rounds and shit. They know, oh, hey, hold on. They know where the line is. You know, like,
sting.
Yeah, we really got to want it here if we want to fucking have a riot. We really got to want it. So I feel like that's what we have to teach these chimps. They don't know. Going to set an example.
That's a mean fucking animal, though.
They're smart. They'll get it.
Holy shit.
They'll probably just figure out how to counter us.
Or they'll just create gunpowder, too.
I was going to say, that's what I mean. They're going to come up with their own weapons, and then we'll be fighting the chimps.
Some giant shit bomb.
Yeah, and they'll infect themselves with viruses, so we'll be scared.
And then just come bite us all.
And then bite everybody, and it's over. We've just told you how the world's going to end, everybody. Ultra smart chimps
biting people to death,
but who carry viruses asymptomatically, but are deadly to people and just biting people to death. That's how it's going to work. Watch out, everybody. The future is here. So, November 4th, 1971, a week later, after he fights the kangaroo sportsman there, he fights, a week later, that's crazy to fight your second pro fight. He fights Richie Brown, who is 6-0-1 coming into the fight. Turns out to be 13-9-3 in his career, but this is a decision all 4 rounds, and Paul wins again.
Really?
So 2-0 is what I have as an official record for him.
And that's it, as we can know.
That's all we can get. That's all we can get here. So it's at this point around now where he gives up on boxing to concentrate on rugby. I don't know if he figured, okay, getting punched in the face for 4 rounds at a time for very little money really isn't the glory I was looking for.
Sure.
Or if he figured I just fought 2 half-decent guys and went the distance. I'm not going to be heavyweight. I'm not Muhammad Ali over here. Yeah. Maybe I should not do this.
I'm 5'6".
Yeah. I'm just
self-reflection.
I'm just not the greatest fighter. Maybe I should. I'm a better rugby player than I am a boxer, which is fine. People. You make decisions in your life.
Sometimes it's great to have a little self-awareness and know what you're capable of.
How many comics decide that they're better actors than comedians?
Yeah.
Well, they don't do that. They decide it's way easier to be an actor than it is to be
and a lot more money in it.
Wow, this is easier, more money. Right. I don't have to travel. This is terrific. Wow. Who would have thought, right?
I get my own trailer, and there's a parade of women in here.
People wonder why comics are like, that make it in movies and shit, why they don't do stand-up or they stop doing stand-up.
Slow it down at minimum.
Why would you? Because, if you had a good life, why the fuck would you want to go to Omaha to maybe entertain 300 people who might enjoy it, maybe. Why would you want to do that?
Right.
Why would you put yourself up to that when you just stay in your house or go on vacation?
If you've been in a movie and you're not even that famous, you know what I mean? And you go to like Wheeling, West Virginia, and nobody knows who you are, and they've just papered a room, which is free tickets, and everybody shows up.
Yeah.
It's full, but none of those people know who you are, and they don't know what kind of comedy you do, and then you bomb in a packed room.
Yeah.
And you're like, I was in fucking movies.
I was in movies, but
why am I still doing this?
This is the 300 people in Wheeling that were willing to fucking buy 2 drinks in exchange for free admission into this building.
Right.
That's basically what we have here. These aren't comedy fans. These are people who say, "You want to go to a show tonight?"
Right.
I mean, we just go out and get some drinks and it'll be fun. And if the guy sucks, we'll throw shit at him. That's what we're talking about. They don't care. There's no investment in these people. That's being a stand-up going around doing that shit, unless you have your own audience and sell out.
It's 300 people of when you first start comedy and your friends go, if you're not funny, I'll heckle you. It's 300 of those.
Exactly.
And they can't wait to heckle.
Yeah, which is fucking unreal. But that's what happens, though, and they wonder why people quit comedy,
right?
For that. But I must say right now, a lot of our comedian friends scoffed at podcasts about 4 years ago. I'm like, that's not my thing. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Hope Zoom comedy shows are your thing.
Those are brutal.
Yeah, because that's what you're fucking doing. This is better than that, I would say. Much better, I would say. And enjoy your 30% capacity rooms later. Anyway, moving on. He decides to concentrate on rugby. He's a halfback, which we've covered before. We have no idea what the fuck that means in terms of rugby. No. We've covered this. We have no idea.
The same as football.
We're not going to try. We're just going to assume that the quarterback gets the ball from the center, hands it to him, and he goes for 3 to 4 yards at a pop. That's all we can assume at this point.
At maximum.
Yeah. I'm not even going to.
That's a glory run.
It's awesome. So he plays for the either Newton or Newtown. It seems like they would probably call it Newtown over there.
That's Australia.
Yeah, Newtown Jets is what this is. So this year, their captain's name is Lionel Williamson, who sounds like he'd represent me in a civil matter or something, and not doesn't sound like a rugby hooligan.
At toughest, he's a union president.
Maybe,
where he doesn't do the job.
He's never had
He just works for you.
Yeah, exactly. Very soft hands. Very soft.
He'll go
hands.
yell at somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's about it.
But if you shake his hand, you're like, whoa, hey, enough lotion there, Chief.
What's your favorite pen, sir?
Right? Jesus Christ. So this year, I found their attendance to try to gauge their popularity. I don't know. Their biggest home crowd this year was 9,633.
Wow.
And their average home crowd was 5,688.
We're almost there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So this is not a big draw.
No.
Let's just say. Maybe that is for I don't know, but
there's so many of them too. If they're getting an average of 5,000 with how many games they play and how often,
I guess
that seems good. I don't know. That seems like a lot.
Seems good.
I'm happy for them.
We have a good job, Newtown. So that's 1973. In 74, Newtown has a 9,400 person game, and their average home crowd goes down to 4,510.
Oh, no.
So it drops by more than 1,000. They had fired their coach this year. They got a guy named Clary as their coach now.
Last name or first?
First name is Clary.
Jesus.
Clarrie.
Oh, no.
So Carrie and Claire. It's a mixture of the two of those names, which is an odd name for a man. I don't know. What are you going to do?
Every time I hear Claire, I go, that's a fat girl's name.
Yeah, because it's
the Breakfast Club.
It's Breakfast Club, exactly. Just because of the Breakfast Club.
It's a fat girl's name.
What about Clary?
That's a fat dude's name.
That's a fat dude's name. Real fat. Real, like food in his mustache fat, you know? See, he's saving for later. So their top point scorer this year was Ken Wilson with 101. Their top try scorer,
I don't know.
Was Lionel Williamson. That's why he's the fucking captain, Chief.
He's going hard.
Because he's trying harder than anybody. Who's trying to score? Lionel, that's who. There's a reason I'm in charge. I'm the captain, you fucking bastards. What are you going to listen to Clary over here, this fat fuck? He's got half a meatball in his mustache. No one's listening to him. Listen to Lionel. I'm trying. Fat bastards. Jesus Christ. So he had 8 try scores.
I'm impressed.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I have not been able to accomplish that in my rugby career. 1975, their biggest home crowd goes down to 7,900, and then their average home crowd is 4,567.
What is happening, you guys? Get it together.
It's falling apart. It's not Clary's fault. They keep old Clary in charge, but after that, though, we have their top try scorer is different this year. It goes to John Bradstock. Yeah. So when that happens, you know, shit's crazy. It's crazy. Now, I saw what our guy here, Paul Hayward, he seems to have played in 2 games in 1973 where he had 4 points. Okay,
great.
That seems fair. 1974, he seemed to play in 3 games where he had one try. T is a try. Okay, he had 1 try.
Great.
Try score? Is it a try score or just a try?
Know, man.
It's a try score, but point score is just a point. So I'm going to go with try. So he had 1 try.
Got it.
Okay, the score is just an extra. We're just adding that. It's superfluous. All right. So we got 1 try and 3 goals and 9 points. So somehow 1 try and 3 goals equals 9 points.
That's a lot.
This is weirder than tennis math. I don't understand this shit at all.
I think that try is when they kick it through those posts and you get like...
Oh, is that goals, not games? That's goals, not games. Goals? Is there goals in this?
I think so.
Point score, but then you have points, goals, and tries?
I think so.
Hold on a second.
Now it's nuts.
But how do you have less tries than goals? You'd think your tries would be your tries, and then your goals would be the ones that went in. So
a try is something that you complete.
A try is rare.
You got to complete it to make it be a try.
Well, yeah, you got to score your try. Well, like you only get 10 in a year, and you'll get 98 points.
He did that?
Well, no, Brad Stock did. That guy had 98. He was the top point scorer with 98 and the top try scorer with 10.
Okay.
So you get a tenth of your points and tries.
Okay, yeah.
So somehow 1 try and 3 goals, I guess, equals 9 points. Everybody got that?
Yeah.
All right, then. What the fuck is going on?
This is why I can't do these sports. I can't. I try, and then I fail.
You try. Yeah, you're not a good try scorer. Jimmy's not tried very hard to score here. He's not doing well.
It as soon as somebody explains, I go, yeah, that makes sense, and then I forget everything they said.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not absorbing that shit.
I don't know. It's not in our... it's a cultural thing. You have to kind of grow up and see it and just absorb it in the background, and you're just going to get things.
You got to understand that Americans think we're better than everybody else.
We just have this thing where, we don't need that.
That's stupid.
That's stupid.
Why don't you just
what do they
football?
got, tries and goals? Jesus, put a fucking helmet on and ram your 300-pound guys into each other and send somebody over with other people trying to kill them. That's what we do here.
And then I'll try to remember your stats.
And then I'll try to remember how many tries you have. We'll all try.
Right.
So 1975, this is when it really gets out of control. He has 8 T's.
Yep.
So 8, I guess, tries, 32 G's.
Yep.
So I'm assuming that's goals. So 8 tries, 32 goals, 1 FG. Is that a field goal now?
I don't know.
What are they fucking setting up for field goals?
Who knows?
What is going on, guys? I don't know. He only has 2 of those in his whole career.
Really?
Or no, 1 in his whole career. It's his only FG in his whole career. So I don't know if field goals are rarer than tries. They seem to be way rarer than tries.
I'm very impressed.
And points. I mean, anybody's got that. So 75, he has 89 points, which sounds like a lot.
Leader?
No, I don't know. Well, no, because the 75, that Brad Stock guy had 98, so he's not going to top Brad Stock.
So he was good at this.
Yeah, Brad Stock led the team in tries and points, and what's his name here? Paul Hayward was right behind him in both of those, so not too bad. I don't know how 8 tries, 32 goals, and a field goal equals 89 points, but we're going to put that for another day.
Sounds great.
Sounds wonderful. So 76, same shit. 76, he's at 19 appearances and 2 T's, 4 G's, and 14 points for him. And they were apparently the win and losses were 3-16 that year.
That's not good.
Which doesn't sound good as a team. That's
if they're
bad.
3-16, that's fucking terrible.
That is not good. Yeah, the games he was in, at least they were 3-16. 77, he's in 17 appearances. He has 2 T's, 1 G, and 8 points. So these stats make no fucking sense, is what I'm getting at. I'm sure they make perfect sense.
Yeah,
but we just are idiots. They were 2-15 in games he appeared in that year.
Okay.
So this is not a great team through here.
It's pretty bad.
You can see why their average attendance keeps dropping.
It's dipping.
Yeah.
It's still bigger than I've ever played to, but it's
not
impressive.
Bad. 78, 11, and he has 11 appearances where he has 1 T and 3 points. So maybe 1 try equals 3 points.
Okay.
So if 1 try equals 3 points, that would mean, let's look at 75. 8 times 3 is 24.
Yes.
Okay. So that's the T's. And then, hold on, maybe we're on to something here. 24, and then the goals, what if they're worth, say, 2?
Oh.
Okay, in point-wise. So that would be 64 and 24, which would be 88.
Right.
Plus 1 field goal, which counts for 1. Total points, 89.
Are we there?
Probably not. But I just made that work in an algebra standpoint, even though...
You put a lot of X's and Y's.
I really did. I was staring at it the whole
after
time.
The first one when you said 8 times 3, and I went 21.
Okay, perfect. I think I just figured it out. Yeah. Probably not, but you never know. Now, this is where they say that he also in 76 was selected to represent Australia as a boxer, but then he was disqualified because he was professional too. So why did they select him if they knew he was professional? I don't know how that works, but...
I don't know. But see, that's how fucking impressive rugby is there. When a team is that shitty, they still draw 5,000 people.
Yeah. Well,
that's incredible.
I looked at 76, the average attendance here in 76. By the way, in 76, they had 4 captains for some reason. Lionel wasn't cutting it on his own, apparently.
Somebody gets sick.
Biggest home crowd, 5,700 in 76. Wow. Average crowd, 3,850.
That's terrible.
Going way down. I mean, they were losing like crazy here. Then the next year, 5,700 is their in 77. 5,700 is their biggest home crowd. Average home crowd, 3,981. So not wonderful. Top point scorer only had 39 that year, which the other years it was like 100. We're acting like we know, but that doesn't sound good.
No.
It's not wonderful. Now, March 30th, 77, Paul fractures his thumb, and he has to be out 5 weeks. That's why he only had 11 appearances, or he had 17 in 77, so I don't know why. I don't know shit about rugby. I'm going to be honest with you guys.
I imagine a broken thumb will ruin that, though.
You'd need it to carry the ball. Yeah. Don't you have to carry it?
Our football players play through it, but
that ball is huge, though, the rugby ball.
Yeah, it is.
It's silly, prohibitively big for a man 5'6" to carry. It really is. It's
you almost got to carry it up over your shoulders like an ant would, or like a watermelon.
Or put it on your head,
right?
Like
an African girl looking for water,
going to do the laundry or something. Like, I don't know,
hysterical.
Do that shit. I think basically, I'm confused by this.
What a
completely
sport.
Confused here, Aussies. I don't know what's going on. Figure your shit out.
Yeah.
I know you've had it figured out, but we don't. So.
Figure out how to make us understand.
Yeah, figure out how to make us understand. You know what would be easier for you guys? I noticed that ball, like I said, is just not convenient for anything.
It's an encumbrance.
We'd like to suggest a design for you that we've worked out. It's really good. You can throw it spirals through the air.
Seems to work out great.
You can throw it like 90 yards if you got a good arm. Literally like 90 fucking yards. I would pay to watch someone throw a rugby ball 90 yards. That would be difficult, I think.
It seems heavier, too.
It seems heavier. The shape isn't...
No.
It's a cool ball.
Yeah.
It's a cool ball, but I don't know how the fuck you'd play anything with it other than, kill the carrier, which is pretty much what rugby is anyway. So never mind, I stand corrected. So 78, their home crowds are down to 3,800 as an average again. Just everything is kind of falling apart here for the team. And now, Paul in his career plays in 73 first grade games. I guess this team is a first grade team of different levels of rugby.
He's the same size.
First grade, as a first grader. For Newtown here, he scored 14 tries and 43 goals in his career, apparently. That's his whole career. I don't know if that's a great career.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. He seemed well-liked among his teammates. That I do know. So 78 is going to be the last time he plays rugby.
Really?
He didn't retire or, have an injury or anything like that. We'll find out what happened. But let's just say for right now, Grace. This is Grace right here. Rugby, he's a rugby guy. Yeah. People know him as, hey, there's the rugby guy, and people think he's a good, cool guy.
He's Aussie Bo Jackson, 2 sports and
he's
all that shit.
Aussie Bo, that's right, but just tinier.
Yeah.
Just tinier. So
he was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real. The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
Well, he meets a guy that we'll talk about for a second here during this time named Warren Fellows. Now, Warren Fellows is a bartender slash hairdresser.
What?
So that means drug dealer.
Yeah.
If you're in the 70s and you're like, I 10 bar and cut hair, you just sell coke to people who go to bars and get their hair cut. That's what you do.
Yeah.
That's your job pretty much at that point, I feel like. So Fellows is an Australian. His father, and this ties into sports as well, his father's name is Bill Fellows. He's a champion jockey and horse trainer.
Oh.
So he's actually comes from, athlete stock.
Right.
So even this would technically qualify, even this guy.
Not just athlete stock, but like rich people athlete stock.
Yeah.
Like he knows people with some money, the people with the most money.
You have to have millions to fucking go near a horse, period. Like you
Right.
can't even fucking pet a horse if you don't have, they know they can sense your bank account and they'll bite you. That's how it works.
Jim Rome was trying to be an everyman, like relate to like dudes that watch football on Sundays. The son of a bitch has like stake in 4 different
He's got race horses
Go
and
fuck
shit.
Yourself, Jim.
See you at the Preakness, asshole. Think like, fuck you.
See over at the Downs, you fucking jerk.
Dickhead. Tell us how Belmont went.
Right.
So
talk to me about bricklaying.
Yeah.
Fuck you,
shut
Jim.
Up. Yeah. I'll put a deep voice on and act like I'm one of the guys. Hey.
Give my audience a nickname.
What's up, guys?
Pretend to have a fake argument with fucking
I'm one of you.
With an NFL athlete.
Where's Jim Everett? Push me over. There we go.
I wish Jim Everett would have beat the living. I wish that was real.
Imagine if that
Jim
was real.
Pummeled his fucking
and he just
face.
jumped on top. Well, if it was real,
Jim Rome would have sued the shit out of him.
He would have sued the shit out of him, and the fear in his eyes would have been.
He wouldn't have dared to say Chris
huge.
Twice.
Yeah. Jim Everett's a big guy. I don't care if you think he's a pussy for a football player. Right. He's 6'5", 200 something pounds, and has huge men.
All-American.
Has huge men tackle him from the blind side and gets up and plays again. So. No, you're not going to fight him.
Fucking hate Jim Rome.
That's hilarious. By the way, quick thing here. This week coming up, we're going to have a special thing going on this weekend and sort of into next week's episode. And we're going to help Lenny Dykstra celebrate 2 years of being prison free and jail free and arrest free. And that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have we have some special things. We're going to talk to Lenny, actually have him on, and we're going to talk to him about what he's been up to.
Yeah.
What was he thinking when he fucked up? Lenny's he's a very open dude and very willing to lay it on the line and have a good time. So it's going to be really fucking fun. So
ask James and Jimmie 5 years ago. You guys are going to start a podcast? Wait till you talk to Lenny.
Yeah, I'd be like, what?
Why would we do that?
Yeah, why would he want to talk to us?
He likes you.
Yeah. Oh, really? All right. Interesting.
Fuck out of here.
Odd. So Warren Fellows, his father as a champion trainer and jockey, he won the 1949 Melbourne Cup on Fox Zammy was the name of the horse, apparently. Warren's the youngest of 3 children, but he had, in 1950, his 2-year-old sister died from a, quote, bowel complication.
Oh, Jesus.
So I don't know what the hell kind of bowel complication a 2-year-old could have to kill him. But
this sounds like the worst death for a 2-year-old.
Yeah, it sounds like she ate like a baker's dozen koalas. Didn't have any eucalyptus leaves or something. It's sad. It happened 70 years ago. Fuck, the fucking girl will probably be dead anyway. Either way, she'd be on borrowed time. Right. So I don't want anybody bitching and feeling bad.
Poor thing, though, man, alive.
So his older brother Gary died when Gary was 36 years old. There, so he's got a very kind of a tragic lineage in his family here. He has a son also named Adrian, we'll talk about later. Now, he went to De La Salle College,
This is Fellows.
Yeah. This was a Catholic school for boys in New South Wales. He claims that he was almost expelled from school when he was caught running a horse betting operation in school as a child.
Bookies.
Oh yeah. He's all this Warren Fellows. He hustles. He gets into bookmaking and drugs and hairdressing and bartending, and he's got a lot of irons in the fire, man.
Wow,
it's pretty interesting. So he said that he left the college and he went to another high school. I don't know why you go. I don't know how that works over there, though. I don't know if college just means private back then or what the fuck. Because we're talking 60s Australia.
Right.
I don't know your
college there is called university.
Yeah, we don't even know what a fucking try is, so we're not going to unravel this mystery. You know what I'm saying? Jesus Christ.
Sounds like he went from private to public school.
That's
what I think.
Too many koalas.
Yeah.
Whenever anything is just mucked up, we're going to go, hey, too many koalas. I don't know what the hell happened.
Yeah.
So he ends up working a bunch of jobs, like I said, including a barman, bartender, and an apprentice hairdresser, and then a hairdresser as well. Now, when he started working in a bar is when he first got involved with drug trafficking, which if you've ever worked at a bar, you know that everybody has drugs.
Yeah.
And if you don't do drugs, you are the minority, and you're really annoyed by people asking you if you want to do coke all the time. It's so fucking annoying. I worked in a bar. It's like, announcement to everyone. I wouldn't like any coke. Thank you. I'm good. The amount of times I've been asked to do coke that I have no interest in by the same fucking people over and over again. I could see why if you're a little bit weak, you'd get right into this fucking lifestyle. Not even weak, just not already,
Just finally give in to saying
worried about it. Yeah.
I'm exhausted.
Fine.
Yes.
You know what?
I want it.
It's midnight. Just give me coke.
Back of the toilet. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's be Sue Bob. Let's do this. Let's be Kirk and Mamie.
Will you please leave me alone after this?
Will this do it? Then it'll be more.
Right.
So he got involved. He would successfully imported hash from India with a friend of his. So that's his first kind of dip into the whole smuggling thing. And after that, he comes back to Australia and he gets married. He has a kid. This Warren Fellows. That's the son, Adrian. Now people at the bar hear about that he's done a little smuggling. He wants to be cool.
Jesus.
I mean, if you're working at a bar, you're going to try to get laid, and you're going to talk to people. Hey,
you're going to tell that story about the time you went to fucking India.
That last hash run from India, And this is the 70s, too, and it's like, ooh, hey, look at you. You're pretty cool.
It's
hey.
you, Midnight Cowboy.
Yeah, that's what it was. Hey, look at this shit. Or worse, Midnight Express.
Right.
We'll talk about that. So, Fellows, he traveled to Los Angeles, Hawaii, South America, all over the place to get cocaine to smuggle into Australia. Yeah. So he becomes kind of there's a little thing going on here.
It's impressive.
Warren Fellows. And it's interesting, though. Like I said, at the same time, he was doing bookmaking here and there on the side. He's got a lot of irons in the fire. He's selling coke. He's got a little heroin deal that he's selling. And he ends up meeting a guy named Nettie Smith, who is a crime boss in Sydney at the time. And we'll talk about how he ends up meeting Nettie Smith. This is what Fellows said about the whole thing, how he got wrapped up in this. He said, quote, "The money seems so good that I could honestly say the consequences didn't occur to me at all. I made up my mind on the spot." The money back then, drugs were worth way more than they are now. Like a little bit of heroin back then, especially like on an island of Australia, was probably fucking expensive as compared to now when it's,
I'm sure it's still expensive there.
Maybe. I'm not sure. I don't know how it works with islands. I would think the economy of an island would be less is going to probably get in.
I would expect that everything in Australia is an import. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. It's like a huge Hawaii.
Right. I don't see them creating much, apart from weed there, I don't see them making too much meth.
Maybe, but the outback is a lot of space out there to fucking do it.
I just don't see it in my head.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Australia. Yeah. Western Hawaii. Larger Hawaii.
Much western.
Much more western. It's so far western, it's sort of eastern Hawaii. So Warren Fellows meets Paul Hayward in a strange way here. Now, Hayward is married to the sister of crime boss Nettie Smith's wife.
Okay.
So he is brother-in-laws. Paul Hayward is brother-in-laws with this Nettie Smith, who's a major Sydney crime figure. Yeah, their wives are sisters.
Right.
So they're gonna spend time together if their wives are sisters.
Yeah.
As we just know, that's how it is. So then Fellows works for Nettie Smith, so he ends up meeting Paul Hayward in that circle.
Yep.
So Paul ends up hooking up with Fellows and becoming good friends with him. And as you can imagine, probably not the best thing for Hayward to get himself involved with a, drink slinging, hairdressing, coke importing, heroin dealing, fucking hash smuggler. Probably not the best deal for a professional athlete.
Yeah.
As we've talked about in the previous 208 episodes that we've done, that this is going to be bad, probably. Now, he writes, Warren Fellows wrote a book later, and we'll plug the book and everything, but here's an excerpt from the book of Warren talking about Paul Hayward when he first met him. He says, quote, he was strong in heart and body and spirit. I remember one time very early in our acquaintanceship. Well, I like that
that's cute.
Acquaintanceship.
Why not friendship?
Because it was early.
Oh,
they were just acquaintances at that point.
In the acquaintanceship.
Oh, wow.
Sounds
That's very specific.
Yeah.
An editor probably said that.
Yeah.
Were you friends yet, or were you acquaintances at this point? Took forever to edit this book.
You're right. Let's put acquaintanceship in.
Yeah. Very early on in our acquaintanceship, somebody in a bar was harassing me in some mindless way. I didn't care much. Whatever they were attacking me about was trifling to me. But Paul took offense on my behalf, telling the offender in a forceful but compassionate manner to move away and just let everyone enjoy the night. We were virtually strangers, yet here he was sticking his neck out for me. Of course, he was a boxer and didn't have too much to fear from some lout in a pub, but he needn't have bothered either. If you were in his circle in the slightest way, he considered it his duty as a strong man to defend you. I thought that was pretty special. Yeah. That's nice of him.
Also, as a little guy, it's fun to be a loudmouth because if a big guy hits you and you go down, he looks like a dick.
Well, yeah. If you're a little guy that can kick ass,
drill him and knock him out, he really looks like a dick.
If you're a pro rugby playing boxer, you know that you're pretty confident in your fucking abilities, I would think. And he's a sturdy looking guy back then too. You'd think like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. This guy looks like he probably hits the gym once in a while. I don't know if I'm going to.
It's just a little guy in a fight rarely loses because when he loses, he still wins because the big guy looks dumb. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes it's different.
Unless he loses his teeth. And then whoever looks dumb really doesn't matter as he goes to the orthodontist to get his shit put back in. At that point, that's the only time it's different. So he says, Warren says, Paul's professional career as a football player with Newtown Rugby League was in top flight when I met him in 1978. There was absolutely no reason for him to be involved in the events that followed. All he did to achieve his place in this sorry tale is marry Gail, the sister of Nettie Smith's de facto wife. And that's how he met me.
God
so
damn it, Gail.
That sets up the whole thing of Paul is a hapless. We'll find out what happened to him because this is one of the worst luck stories of all time, I think. It has to be.
Yeah.
So anyway, Fellows also came to know this drug dealer named, and he's called separately Charles and William Sinclair. Okay. Don't know which is his real name. I don't know if he's William Charles Sinclair. Goes off different names, but Sinclair is his name. He's a drug dealer who also used to be an alderman. He was a politician in Sydney. He owns bars. Okay. Once you own a bar, you must deal drugs in the late 70s. It's just a rule.
It's the law.
You have to. Right. It's like, why would I not take this other revenue stream? It's silly.
It's right there.
It'd be like if you have a podcast and you're just like, I'm not setting up a Patreon. Why?
Why would I do that?
People might like you and want to support you. Why would you not do that, you stupid idiot? So that's what's going on here. So he got to know William Sinclair. William Sinclair took Fellows with him to Bangkok, Thailand. Okay, where Sinclair was introduced to Nettie Smith. Mm-hmm. That's what it was. Fellows was the go-between between Sinclair and Nettie Smith. Mm-hmm. Now Sinclair is now living in Thailand, in Bangkok. He owns a bar over there. He's very hooked into the underworld, knows where to get drugs, knows how to do things.
Yakuza.
Yeah, well, sort of. Not really. He's an Australian Thai, so it'd be,
right.
I don't know what Yakuza, mate. It'd be a different thing.
The Wallakoozas.
The Wallakoozas. The Kangakoozas. They're coming for you. The Yakuza-roos are coming, everyone. Watch out, the Yakuza-roos are coming again.
Yarusas.
Sorry, Australia. We fucking love you. So anyway, like I said, like we say in every foreign episode, we hope that you find our ignorance charming.
For sure.
We know nothing, and every bit of Australian culture we know is pretty much from Crocodile Dundee. So we have very little knowledge of what the hell you have going on down there. We don't know. You don't send much out to the world to us, other than actors who then stay here, and we think they're American after 5 fucking years. We don't know. We're like, oh yeah, he has a weird accent when he talks in interviews. That's right. We don't know.
And your beloved gets stabbed by sea creature, and his daughter's the best.
There you go. That's what happens.
Congratulations on your marriage, Bindi.
Good job. Yeah, good job, Bindi. So this is where William Fellows hooks Sinclair up with Nettie Smith so they can have a heroin smuggling operation into Australia so Nettie Smith can then distribute this heroin in Australia.
Okay.
Hear Paul Hayward's name in there at all? No, there's a reason for that. He's not fucking involved in this at all. He's just brother-in-laws with one guy and friends with another.
He's married into the problem.
Yeah, let's talk a little about Nettie Smith here. It's just to give a layout of who we're dealing with as the boss of this operation, okay? He's born in 1944. He had apparently a shit childhood. He was poor and his family was kind of falling apart. He was put in a state home at the age of 10.
Oh, no.
He left school at 14 and started his criminal career at 14. He was
thankful it's not Manson.
Done with that.
Yeah.
That's what you know what? It's kind of, he's almost Manson.
Yeah.
He liked money more than Manson. That's the thing.
Uh-huh.
He liked everything, but he also wanted money. Whereas if Manson cared more about money, that whole thing would have went a different way.
You're probably right.
He just wanted some weird little bunch of people to worship him. Yeah. He didn't really give a fuck about the money.
Weird shit to happen.
He wanted to be famous.
Yeah.
He didn't care about being rich. That was fine.
He was the opposite Tupac.
Yeah, exactly.
I want money, he wants fame, fuck the money.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Tupac wanted fame,
man.
too.
Yeah, of course.
I know.
But he said that.
He said it once.
He once said he didn't care.
He did say it early on, too, and then he changed a lot. This was before he was like fucking Janet Jackson on the big screen. You know what I mean? Then he's like, oh, shit, what did I say?
I'll die for this.
Fuck I say 2 years ago? Shit, I will fight on camera.
Yeah.
You can watch my crimes happen on the news, motherfucker.
I will gladly die for this. This is amazing.
So, Nettie Smith is for real. He's a real Tupac. This motherfucker. He's realer than Tupac. Mm-hmm. Over the next 20 years, he's arrested 25 times.
Wow,
that's a lot of arrests. Yeah. His sentences: he had like 6 years for robbery, things like that. In 1967, he took part in a gang rape.
Oh no!
What a good guy. What a nice guy, and got 12 years in prison for that.
So far, you got 18 years of his life to go away.
That's what I mean, right there. But he's released on parole. You want to let that guy out early after serving 2/3 of his sentence. He gets out in March of 1975 on parole. So he is on parole, so keep that in mind. But I want that guy doing the whole every minute.
Yeah.
We're like, no, it's not. Nope, we got about 3 more minutes left. We're keeping you.
As soon as that judge hit the gavel, that's when the timer starts.
That's it. After that, boy, we're doing it.
Oh, my word.
So he's a big guy, too. A big guy, a heavy guy. He weighs, 250 pounds. Big guy like that. He's the boss. You know what I mean? People call him the big fellow. That's his nickname. And everybody said he was a really good fighter as well, like a good street fighter.
Well, you don't have to really be.
No, especially if you're
one connection.
Crime boss
in Australia?
Here. Yeah.
That's a fragile people.
He's also, Australia, they're a hardy fucking people over there. Jesus.
But for the most part, if you see
Those
pictures of them on the
crazy.
beach, they look fragile.
Well, I mean, they're doughy and white. Yes, they are. They are doughy. And they're very white, and they live in an environment much like Arizona, which is the sun. It's impossible for a very pale person to get a tan.
Yeah.
They'll just singe into nothing. You just either stay outside or get cancer in 15 minutes. Those are your options. You really don't have a lot of options.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel like Australia is. A bunch of people that go out for like 4 minutes at a time and like, oh, the sun's night. Oh, shit, I got to go inside. I'm bright red already.
It's 9 a.m.
Oh, yeah. Done. So that's the sort of thing there. But they're a hardy fucking people, those Australians. They're crazy.
Yeah, they are.
They're the fucking nuts.
They're lunatics, but
they're a lunatic fringe.
It feels like the vast majority are not a strapping.
Maybe.
They're not.
I think you're thinking of British people more.
I don't know. I see Australians as just like tanner Brits.
Yeah. Brits with some weathered faces.
Brits with wrinkles.
Yeah, they sent like every roofer they had there. Yeah. Send all the roofers to Australia, all of them. That's what it was.
Get them used to it.
Yeah. So November of 1976, Smith is charged with attempted murder while out on parole for gang rape.
How is this guy free?
Attempt to murder, assault with attempt to rob, attempted armed robbery, and possessing an unlicensed pistol. Which, fucking insane, right?
Forgiving people is a better definition.
I would say.
My word.
So he's out still. I don't know if he's out on bail or what here. October 11th, 1978 is Nettie Smith is out, and so is Hayward, and so is Warren Fellows. So October 11th, 1978 at 9 a.m., Warren Fellows and Paul Hayward are in Bangkok. And now Hayward is in a room in the Montean Hotel in Bangkok. It's a very nice room. And about 9 a.m. on a Wednesday morning, October 11th, 1978, it becomes much less of a nice room as immigration officials and police burst into his hotel room and search it. Okay. He is completely, they've ripped Paul's room apart. We'll find out what they find here. They said, well, we'll take a quote right from Warren's book. Quote, Thai policemen carrying guns are tearing the room apart, babbling things I cannot understand. There is shouting from somewhere else in the hotel, and I'm dragged by both my arms out into the hallway and down to Paul's room. He's being pressed against the wall with guns at his head, while other policemen are standing over the red suitcase. They urgently chorus something toward the major, and he squeezes my face till I feel my cheekbones will break. He says, quote, the suitcase has a coded lock. Tell me the number. I tell him the number is 256, and another policeman opens the lock. Insane with fear, I stupidly cling to the hope that they will close the case without looking under the flimsy blue towel that covers 24 bags of grade 4 heroin.
Oh, no.
Not good in Thailand back then.
I'm sure they're not going to.
Very bad.
I'm sure they're not just going to leave that be.
He says, quote, there is a grotesque silence in the room as the towel is removed. I want to cry, but my body is so terrified it cannot manage even so simple a task. I know I am dying. The major there, Viraj is his name, is in a state of ecstatic rage. He marches me to the balcony and holds my head over the edge, forcing me to stare out over the bustling streets and filthy lanes below. See the people down there, he barks, shaking my head like a toy. You can forget them now. None of them can help you. Forget about your embassy. Forget about a lawyer. So he says that's what they were taking out. So this is the situation they're in. Not good.
Forget an embassy?
Yeah, forget your embassy, forget your lawyer. Basically, I own you now, motherfucker. You know, you are screwed.
Can they do that? I suppose.
Can anybody do anything?
No.
It's a fucking foreign country. Yeah. That's why they have that show Locked Up Abroad.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's insane. And
don't do this.
Yeah. The laws are different, especially with foreigners, and especially Thailand with drugs was crazy back. People got the death penalty for drugs like crazy all the time back there. Yeah, if you had a certain amount of heroin, it was death penalty. That's it.
You got a heroin? No, I'm just here to fuck boys.
I'm here. Get out of my face. Let's go. Let's go. 8-year-olds are that way. If they try to offer you heroin, let me know about it, because I will execute them. I'll march their sore little buttholes right up to the gallows. I swear to God, I am not taking any shit from these kids anymore.
That is unbelievable that they gave a shit that much about drug trafficking.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they've got children being raped for $20 a day.
It's no problem. Nobody gives two fucking shits.
Get out of here, Dr.
There you go. Hey, let's go. So they talk about being at the police station after that, and Warren says he calls the one guy Mad Dog. That's the main major guy who held him over the balcony.
The lead officer's name is Mad Dog.
He calls him Mad Dog, the Warren Fellows in the book.
Got it.
So he says, quote, Mad Dog leaves the room and returns with 2 documents written in Thai. He places them on the table in front of us and taps them with a thick wooden ruler with a strip of metal embedded on it. Remember those?
Yeah.
Metal. Why do they have a metal edge? Is this to make it a better line for
a better,
cleaner?
It doesn't chip.
I guess that's what you get.
If they chip, then you go. Brrr,
yeah, you're like, shit. That's a shit.
Not a straight line.
No, so use a plastic one.
Also, it hurts like a motherfucker.
That'll get you. Yeah,
because we need 8-year-olds with a weapon.
Well, they should. Over there, they need weapons. Yeah. People trying to put things in their buttholes constantly. They should have weapons. Arm the 8-year-olds of Thailand, everyone.
Rulers with metal edges.
Fuck it. So he says, quote, he tells us to sign them, and I ask for someone to translate the documents, which it's in Thai.
Smart move.
If you're going to sign a confession, you might want to know what you're signing. You might just, have confessed to killing the prime minister. You have no fucking idea.
You might just say that you're running a harem of 8-year-olds.
Well, that would be fine. They'd be like, this is just for tax purposes.
Please sign your traffic citation.
It's not a crime. Just this is for tax purposes. We need to tax these children if they're making anything.
You gotta document the assholes.
That's how it works. We have to know. We have to know which assholes are better than others. So he says, quote, Mad Dog starts to laugh. He tells the other policemen what I have said, and they laugh too. So they're all laughing at them that someone's going to translate. Then he walks behind me and stands close. He's tapping me softly on the shoulder with the ruler. He leans down toward me, and I can feel his breath on my ear. He says, you think you're pretty tough, don't you? I tell him I don't. Oh, yes, he whispers. You like to think you're pretty tough. Yes, you do. You don't want to sign this, do you? You think you're tough enough to survive in here? Tough enough to survive me? Well, Mr. Warren, he sighs as he stands, I'll look after you. Which, that's not as kind as it sounds. No. I don't think he's going to look after you. Then he looks after him by, quote, the rod cracks down on my head and I nearly pass out. That's how he's looking after you. Mad Dog pushes my head down, pressing my head into the table with all his weight. He leaves, and we are all alone with other Thai policemen. Paul and I try to talk, but we are beaten whenever we make a sound or move too close to each other. A Caucasian man enters the room with some documents. He says he is a representative from the embassy. I ask if I can see a lawyer, but he says there's no need for that at this time. He begins asking questions. State your full name, what's your date of birth, who's your next of kin, all of that shit. So that's where they're at. They have no idea what's going on.
No.
The one guy that comes in that speaks English, we don't know if he really works for the embassy. Doesn't know if he's
asked me who's my next of kin.
That's what I mean. He didn't know if this is just some white guy they hired to fucking make foreigners who are in the police station feel more comfortable while they sign their life away and get beaten to death. Who the fuck knows?
That might be the scariest question ever asked.
Next of kin? Right. What do you need to know that for?
Fucking why?
I'm feeling great. I got to be honest. I'm healthy as a horse.
Not even allergies.
I went to the doctor like a month ago. Clean, blood tests and everything. Clean bill of health.
Next to kin.
Yeah. So apparently here, how this went about. Apparently, hours earlier, Hayward had asked Fellow and asked a courier and Warren Fellows, to collect this briefcase that they ended up finding it in, because he said he was nervous having it in his possession. And everybody ended up falling asleep, and the switch never happened. So it wasn't even supposed to be in Paul's room. He wanted someone else to take it because he's not a drug smuggler, and he's very uncomfortable with having this much heroin here. And because he literally never did this before. As you can imagine, you'd be sweating if you're sitting there with a suitcase full of heroin in Thailand in 1978. Right. You'd be shitting your fucking pants.
When your best excuse is, I'm here for the 8-year-old butthole.
Yeah.
This isn't even...
You here for heroin? The buttholes, sir. The buttholes. So many buttholes. Little girls. No, boys. No. Boys. Little boys.
Christ, no.
All of them. 5 at a time. They're little. So apparently, the day before this, the Parramatta Eels were in Bangkok for their end of season trip, and people ran into Hayward at a local bar, and people are asking him how come you weren't in America, because the Jets, his team, were doing some tour in America, and he was supposed to be there, but instead he was doing this.
Oh no!
And we'll find out why. The next day, everybody knew, because in the headlines all across Australia were these guys and piles of photos with huge stacks of heroin, and them sitting there, with plastic bags full of fucking heroin. So Hayward was, he basically said that his role in the whole thing was just to look after Warren, make sure nobody jumped him and took the briefcase.
All right.
You be the muscle, kind of.
Yeah.
That's it. That's his only role. Hey, take care of him, because it's, Bangkok's dangerous at night. That was basically it. And Warren's kind of a pussy.
Sweet gig.
But you're tough.
Yeah.
That's all it was. He said, quote, this is Warren Fellows, or this is another guy, quote, this is Paul, quote, I was only there so Warren wouldn't get burned. That's it. And that's what Fellows said too. He's the exact same thing. He said that he wasn't a drug user at the time. That's the other thing. Fellows and Hayward, neither of them are drug users at the time. Neither of them take drugs at all. They're just, Fellows sells drugs. I'm sure he does a little toot now and then at the bar.
Gotta sample it.
But they're not big. He's not like doing this to support a drug habit or anything. He's just partying. Paul said he was offered $20,000 to do this in 1978.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of money. He said it was 3 seasons of football earnings for him. So
half his fucking career.
3 years of salary to do this. And it's October with the Christmas season coming up and shit. All you have to do, and it was just to accompany Warren's going to do everything. All you have to do is hang out with him in Bangkok.
Hang out.
That's it. So that's, oh man, it's a hard one. That's hard to resist.
Yeah.
That's hard to resist. And Paul is married. Mm-hmm. He's got children, bills, everything else. I mean, this is a very lucrative offer for him. And so the other guy, the William or Charles, either one, however you want to put it, Sinclair here, he also ends up getting arrested a little bit later over this whole thing for masterminding it. Now, Hayward said, quote, when he's arrested, he said, quote, I can never go back to Sydney after this. Thinks he's fucked. Yeah. Now, Paul's wife, this poor woman at the time is 24 years old.
Gail.
Her name's Gail.
Yeah.
She drove Paul to the airport that day. Saw him off as she thought he was going to the U.S. just like last year,
the Jets,
to do the rugby league thing and all that shit. So he's like, have fun in America.
She didn't even say enjoy the buttholes.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, he's like, she doesn't even know about the buttholes as he walks away with his suitcase. Ha ha ha. There's no buttholes in America. Well, none of the type I'm looking for, if you know what I mean.
With an empty suitcase in his hand.
Oh, you know it. So it was then the next morning, 6 a.m., Thursday, October 12th, she is woken up by the telephone. It's her sister-in-law, Nettie's wife.
Right.
And saying, oh, no, that's her sister. I'm sorry. It's somebody else's. I don't know who the fuck it is. Somebody in her family call. A woman she's related to calls her.
Got it.
And says while they were speaking, a brother of Paul's was banging on the front door. That's what it was. Basically, he said Paul's been arrested and is in jail in Bangkok for heroin smuggling. His wife's like, pardon? He's supposed to be in, Toledo today. What the fuck are you talking about? Huh? She said, quote, it didn't hit me for hours. I heard it myself on the radio after that. I rang a number in Canberra, a foreign affairs man. He couldn't tell me anything I hadn't heard already. Nobody has told me anything officially. So she said that because the press was asking her, like, do you live extravagantly? Is this like a normal thing? She says, this is her son, Bradley, quote, since Bradley was born, we've never been without. Paul didn't like to be in debt at all. He'd save and have cash before he bought anything. She says, quote, we might owe $100 on the washing machine, but he paid for my car with rugby money. I've only had my driving license a few weeks, she says. So he's trying to provide for a young family, which is tough. She says that she says, quote, it's funny, if these were Bradley's, I'd spend all day dusting them, but Paul has so many trophies that don't mean much to him because he has a ton of rugby trophies, and apparently they keep them like in the laundry room because Paul doesn't care. Yeah. He's like, don't put those out there. Stick them in the laundry room or whatever.
I'd rather pay the rent.
That's all I
give a shit about.
So that's what it seems like is going on.
He wants money, fuck the fame.
That's what it is. Yeah. He's looking for money here. Which is the Wu-Tang also said. Yeah. So he said, fuck the pussy, give me the money and the weed. Okay. Well,
paraphrasing Tupac, essentially. That's perfect.
That's what he says. Like,
I can relate.
He's got man has his desires. What do you want from him?
Excellent point.
So, how did they get caught?
Yeah.
Let's figure that out. Nettie Smith, apparently, all of 1978, was the subject of a wiretap.
Oh no.
Yes, by the police in Australia. Justice Stewart's Age Tapes Royal Commission later reported. That's what that's called. Mm-hmm. Justice Stewart's Age Tapes Royal Commission. Quote, by listening to Smith's conversations, it was learned that Smith was organizing and financing a heroin importation from Thailand. The names of Bill Sinclair, Warren Fellows, and Paul Hayward, as well as others involved, were mentioned, and the details of the importation were discussed.
God damn it.
Fucking insane.
You can't trust a man named Nettie. Who can you trust?
Who can you trust? Nettie and Cecil and Warren? Come on. They said, too, this is odd because Nettie Smith had turned his home into a fucking fortress the year before. He pulled like a full Paul Castellano the year before and turned all sorts of, he had 2.5 meter high. So, 8 feet high, almost walls put in everywhere, security doors, windows, spotlights, closed circuit TVs and all that shit.
And then the guy down at the deli's running his mouth.
He put the full Scarface thing in. Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. So they said the police then were more suspicious of him because he had all this surveillance equipment.
That's a great point.
Yeah, he said though, it's to prevent being robbed. I have valuable things here, and valuable things were like heroin though. That was the problem, rather than his family. So yeah, he ends up with putting Paul and Warren in this whole mess. They said that the police passed on the information that they found in the wiretaps over to Thai authorities. Thanks a lot. And Sinclair, Fellows, and Hayward were all arrested there. It's 8.4 kilos of heroin.
That seems
total.
like a lot.
That's a shitload of heroin. 2.2 pounds is a kilo.
In a suitcase.
In a suitcase.
You're carrying a 20-pound suitcase.
Of heroin.
Of just heroin.
When you open that up, that's got to look like, whoa.
Holy shit.
That's a lot of heroin there.
Already in little baggies, too. It's not even like bricks, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's small.
It's
ready for...
Jesus Christ,
transportation.
Man. It's fucked up. And this is in addition to the next day, then October 12th, Nettie Smith is arrested along with his stepbrother Edwin was arrested with 1.6 kilos of heroin in Australia later on here. So they also arrest Nettie Smith. They raid his house. It's Arthur is his real first name, by the way. Arthur Nettie Smith. They raid his house October 12th in Australia. It's in Sydenham. It was a $29,000 house, which I don't know if that's a lot in 1979 for a house in Australia. I don't know.
Did they have more dollars than us then?
I have no clue. Maybe. But they said the search turned up $39,360 in cash in a bedroom wardrobe and a receipt for a locked tin box at the Marrickville branch of a bank.
Yep.
Okay. Which later was found to contain $90,100 in cash, $10,000 worth of diamonds, a short manual setting out how to get a container past customs. He had like a how-to smuggle book in his fucking
safe deposit
with his smuggling money.
Asshole.
Jesus, keep those things separate. Keep that with like some silly books, like the Idiot's Guide to Putting or some shit. Put it in that. Like I don't even play golf either, so who cares?
It's like the guns and the drugs. Never put those together.
Don't put them together.
Never.
On The Wire. When they buy a fucking thing, they come up, they give one guy money, he signals to another guy who then gives you the drugs. The money and the drugs aren't in the same fucking place at the same time.
Never put them together.
Those are separate, yeah. They're like, no, let's put the smuggling guy, let's show them how I made $100,000 here. So also, and a coded letter from a Hong Kong Chinese merchant about smuggling. So
it's like a drug dealer's W-2.
That's what it is. It's literally like more how-to shit. Like, by the way, they won't tell you in this book.
Yeah.
But you should do this, this, and this also if you really want to smuggle it.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel. Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
Good. So police arrest him. They arrest his wife at the time also, which is Paul's sister Gail's wife. So now her husband and her sister have both been arrested, which is a lot here. They charge them both with possession of money unlawfully obtained. Also present at the time were Paul's brother and also Warren Fellow's wife, who was also there. They weren't arrested. So they searched Fellow's home after this in Australia. They found receipts for two safe deposit boxes at another bank under his wife's maiden name.
Idiot.
But they found them. They found to contain these boxes $185,990.
That's a lot.
In cash.
Yep.
And especially in 1978. Holy shit. A false passport. These are all things that are bad evidence here in the name of Errington, but it had Warren Fellow's picture on it.
Right.
So you got a fucking false passport. So that's an escape box.
Right.
That's
I'm gone.
False passport, my money, I'm getting on a boat and I'm sailing.
I can disappear for a while.
That's exactly what the fuck that is. That's an escape.
$189,000, you can live a lifetime in Haiti as a king.
Back then, yeah. But to Haiti, you could have gone to fucking the Philippines or something.
I'm just thinking of the lowest rung, cheapest place.
The Philippines.
Yeah.
Could have gone to Cambodia or some crazy shit. The Southeast Asia back then, you could buy half a country for $185,000.
My God.
As long as there was no poppy fields in that particular region, then it'd be more expensive.
They'll run you out.
Yeah. So the Nettie Smith's stepbrother, like we talked about, Edwin Smith, they found all sorts of shitloads of heroin there, high-grade heroin that was as well. And then the following day, a Brisbane private detective walked into the office of the Queensland Police Commissioner and surrendered $140,000 cash as well that she had hired. I guess the police had private detectives looking for shit too. He got $140,000 cash. So this whole little group, they seized $435,000 in cash.
That's impressive.
In a couple days. So they're now Warren and to a lesser extent Sinclair, but Warren and Paul Hayward are now in a Thai jail awaiting trial.
They're no Pablo Escobars, but they're doing well.
They're doing well, but except for Paul, he made 20 grand.
20 grand.
He had nothing else to show for any of this shit. Basically, they're in jail for about a week now, and some Australian journalists go there. And basically, they talk to these guys, and they say that they're a fucking mess. The Thai authorities say that both of them already confessed to attempting to smuggle the heroin. Paul talks about the police pressure that they had on here. He said, quote, "We had to confess. They are terrible here. They say if you don't confess, you will be shot or given life. If you help them, they say that they will half your sentence." That's what Paul says. Warren says that Paul is in a terrible state about this whole thing. The cell is about 5 meters by 3 meters, so 9 by 15.
Yeah,
and
pretty good size.
It's got 4 people in there.
Oh, that's not good at all.
2 Thai people and Hayward and Fellows are in there. That's not bad compared to where they go.
Oh, I'm sure.
This isn't bad at all. They said that Fellows has been sick. They said that he looked puffy and unshaven. His hair was a mess, which was real. I mean,
so you're telling me he looked Australian?
He looked Australian. He looked pale and puffy and unshaven and everything except for the deep lines around their eyes. Didn't have that.
Very Australian.
He said that he and Paul hadn't eaten for 3 days, and later food was taken to them, and they said that they had got steak and cheese sandwiches, vegetables, fruit, and milk. The press were allowed to bring in for them. I don't know why you want milk out of that.
Yeah.
I guess you want the vitamins anyway, even if it's gross. So William Sinclair was also there, like we talked about. He said that he doesn't think he'll survive imprisonment very long.
No.
He's 67 years old.
Yeah.
And he says that he's innocent of all charges. They're supposed to make their appearance in court. The Australian embassy said they had no comments on reports that, this was a fucking mess, basically, and all this type of shit. One police source involved in the case said if, quote, summary punishment was not meted out as assuming investigations prove their guilt, Thai authorities would be following a double standard. Like, we can't treat them better than we would treat somebody else. Quote, we just shot a Hong Kong Chinese for the same reason. Drug trafficking. So, I mean, the last government execution was a Laotian. Why should there be any exception for Australians?
That's what they said about...
That's what the police said in the press, to the newspaper.
We just shot a Hong Kong.
We just shot a Hong Kong Chinese for the same reason, and we also just killed a Laotian, so fuck them.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know what to say about that.
That's some sweet justification.
That's wild. An embassy official said that a local law firm was involved in their defense and all that sort of shit. A journalist was allowed to speak to them briefly. This is fucking crazy stuff that's going on. Horrifying that what's going on here. And if you're in Australia, you've got to feel shitty and worried, but don't worry, because in 1978 I found, this is not the sales, but it's sort of, I found right under this article, not to worry, everyone, Bette Midler's coming to town.
All right.
So
at the Opera House?
Oh boy, return concerts. Due to an overwhelming demand, Miss Midler has agreed to 2 extra concerts at the State Theater on November 17th and 18th. Bookings open today. Price is $12.50 plus booking fee. Not bad. Bette Midler in concert. There's a picture of it.
Is that her singing?
That's there. I guess
she's singing, right?
She's singing. I don't think she's acting.
Oh boy.
I'm going to do a monologue now. So that's the Bette Midler. So there's something to cheer up about. Maybe Gail can go to the Bette Midler show and feel better about herself. I don't know.
Wind beneath your wings.
It's like, what the fuck? Huge. It's bigger than the article about the prison. It took up half the page, this article about Bette Midler.
This man's being threatened to be executed under the justification that they also shot a Laotian and a Hong Kong Chinese.
When you shoot the Hong Kong Chinese.
But Bette Midler will be here.
Hey, everybody. They're going to shoot our countrymen, but Bette Midler's coming to town. Maybe she'll sing about it. So this goes on for a while. January 10th, 1979, they have an interview with the prime minister there in Thailand, and he would like them to be sentenced without trial. That's his thing. He said Thai police said that they urged the prime minister, and the Thai police want it too. Police officer said they urged the prime minister, who's a general, by the way, to use his summary powers to sentence without trial these 3 Australians. They want to make an example out of these fucking 3.
Holy shit.
Because they find out Paul's a rugby player. So they're like, oh, he's famous. We can really make a good example out of this fucking guy.
We just Suge Knighted him over the balcony. He confessed to everything.
Everything. So, by the way, that heroin at the time, they estimated it being worth $3 million in the Australian market when all done up and ready for street sales.
Nettie had a $29,000 house.
He had a $29,000.
That's a lot of money.
That's a shitload of money. Yeah, well, he had 3 times that in the bank too, which is pretty fucking funny.
Big score.
This is what he's going to do. So also Sinclair was a bar owner at the time, they're saying. So a police spokesman said, quote, "We propose to the prime minister he should use strong punishment because we have evidence that the Australians were big dealers. They had been trafficking heroin between Bangkok and Australia, diverting the drugs to America and Europe." But the lawyers for the 3 of these guys said, quote, "We were told a long time ago that the article for sentencing without trial would not be used because they were not manufacturers and the amount involved wasn't big enough." Okay. So, they're not making it. Right. They don't have a fucking factory.
You guys made this. That's why there's a problem here.
Yeah, they went there to...
We didn't do it.
Yeah, I get it.
You guys created it. We had to get here to get the shit. Maybe get rid of those guys. Don't make an example out of me.
Or figure out how to make people not want it where the fuck, Also, maybe they won't, that would help.
I'm just patronizing your businesses that you guys cultivate.
Jesus.
Fuck you.
I mean, you set the shops up. What the fuck? So January 20th, by the way, a Thai taxi driver's also in this because he was the heroin courier that brought it to them. And they also find that guy. And he is also ensnared and arrested in this whole thing.
It's like not buying Michael Jordan's shoes because they were made in a sweatshop.
Yeah, no shit.
That's not going to stop.
No, fuck no. So January 20th, 1979, Paul's wife, Gail, is allowed to visit, and she is there. She said she saw him. She's gotten a couple visits at this point, and she said she saw him for 10 minutes today, which was her second visit. She said that at the time, later on, she didn't say this now, but later on, after everything's said and done, she admits that she had bribed prison guards with 500 baht, which is about $20 at the time, so she could kiss him goodbye. So she'd have to bribe the guards, and they'd let her give him a kiss goodbye. So February 6th, 1979 is court. They plead not guilty. Of course. Obviously, that's a smart move there, I think, here. They take him in leg irons and handcuffs. I mean, they Hannibal Lecter these guys, too. It's pretty fucking interesting. They did remove the handcuffs before they went into the courtroom, but they then had to carry their chains and leg irons with them. So
hold these.
I don't know which is worse at that point. It almost looks worse carrying a big armful of chains into the courtroom. Jesus Christ, man. So they set a trial date there, fucking for all three men, actually. Sinclair as well. They all plead not guilty. Sinclair, Hayward's pregnant wife, by the way. Gail is pregnant, his wife. She's about 4 months pregnant at this point. Or 5 months pregnant. He just got it in under the radar. Or right under where before he went to Bangkok. Right. Like the night before. He's like, I'm going to America, so I'm going to stick one in you good tonight, dear. And then next thing you know,
I won't need any American pussy. I'll get it right now.
Right there. So apparently the wife was there. Also, his brother said that, or I'm sorry, what's his name? William Sinclair's son said they were allowed to visit between 15 and 30 minutes, except on the weekends. And also said that the authorities had been very helpful because they're trying to be nice. Right. So January 29th, 1980, the trial is postponed. And this is going to keep happening. We'll talk about here. Postponements, which just leaves them sitting in a Thai jail there. The charges apparently, don't know why they postponed it. Apparently they needed more time, they said, to prepare the case. And the first postponements came from the defense. We need time to build a defense. And then the prosecution needed something, try to make it worse. I'm not sure. I'm just blown away by the craziness of the whole thing, like trying to figure out a foreign country's legal system and shit like that.
I never want to figure that out.
I mean, I'm blown away. I'm blown away by a lot of this, but not nearly as much as I'm blown away by the sales, Jimmie.
Oh, my God.
Oh, the sales.
What does it cost?
If you happen to be in Sydney, Australia in January of 1979, I have got some shit for you. Now, this we're going to do, this is not the sales, this is the entertainment version. We're going to see what's playing at the theaters, what they're advertising in the newspaper that I'm looking through. First of all, there was a show, I don't know if it's a popular show there, if they were just shoving it down your throats and then it went off the air in 6 episodes, a show called Kingswood Country, that they have a big giant, like 1/8 of a page ad on every single page of the newspaper.
They loved it.
Every one they have a different character on. This is the picture right here, as you can see. And it says, meet Ted Bullpitt's daughter. She listens to everything Ted says. And there's a picture of a woman with her fingers in her ears, clearly not listening. Right. And then the other one would be like, meet Ted Bullpitt's son and meet his son-in-law. Like each
Sounds like they should have called it Meet the Bullpits.
Yeah, each ad was a different character. So I don't know. It was on Channel 7, and boy, were they shoving this up your Australian asses. So I hope that thing was like your version of I Love Lucy or something. It ran forever, but I don't know.
Is that hee-haw?
I think so. So then I found here some theaters you could go see. Greater Union Theaters, you could go see some movies. Monty Python's Life of Brian is playing.
Oh, I'll bet that was a huge hit.
That's going to go. Oh, I bet. Clint Eastwood Escape from Alcatraz going there. Sidney Sheldon's Bloodline is playing. Star Trek, the motion picture. My Brilliant Career. It says, plus Prince Charles backstage at Covent Garden. I don't know what the fuck that is, but that sounds like some sort of historical retrospective or some shit.
To do with that.
Hot Lead and Cold Feet is playing. Airport 80, the Concorde.
That sounds like a porno.
Playing. It does. Lord of the Rings is playing there.
Oh.
The original Australian version.
They did it first.
Apparently. Bambi is there. Also, The Sting with Robert Redford and Paul Newman. I almost said Robert Newman and Paul Redford, which is not who they are.
Guys.
Mission Galactica, The Cyclone Attack. Whoa, that's coming. And more Bambi. Monty Python and the Holy Grail is also playing. So you can go see 2 Monty Python movies. Then, let's say you don't want to go to the theater.
Yeah.
You want to get a hand job in your car.
Yeah.
So you want to go to the drive-in. Here it is, baby. You can go see the Amityville Horror or double feature Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke and the Warriors.
Hell yeah.
Holy shit, I'd go to that tonight if that was playing. We'd be going double feature Up in Smoke and the Warriors.
I was almost amazed that Australians even like us with the American shit we gave them. And then at the drive-in, that's where the good stuff's at.
They like the movies. And then at the Hoyts Theater, you got Rocky 2.
Okay.
Apocalypse Now is playing. Bear Island. I don't know what the fuck goes on there. People get eaten by bears. Alien.
Yeah.
Alien, Rocky 2, and Apocalypse Now all playing at the same theater. And the Muppet movie.
Oh, Jesus.
And it's everybody, all the movies have who's in it above it.
Yeah.
It says Kermit, Miss Piggy. They're not real people. That's not the stars of the film.
They are Jim Henson.
And
his friends.
It's all Jim Henson. Also, Escape to Athena, Hot Stuff, and of course, don't miss, and I'm not kidding, last 2 days of Scum. So go see that.
After this, we're cleaning it up.
We're going to clean it all up. The theater's dripping. The walls are dripping. It's been playing for 3 weeks. We got to clean this place up. Scum.
Last 2 days of the Jerks, the Jerk Studio. We're going to clean this one up after this. We're no longer playing XXX movies.
We're not
Come
doing
have
it.
a gander at the Scum.
This is fucking you know how much scum is everywhere? We've had to rename the theater Scum. So you can go see Scum in its last 2 days.
Hilarious.
So February 10th, 1979, there's jail visits. The Gail is back again visiting. She says seeing her husband in leg irons and handcuffs in a Bangkok jail, quote, it's the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Probably worst thing that's ever happened to him, too, I would assume. She said she made a statement at the hotel. She paid a visit to her husband. She then had to fly home to Sydney. She's pregnant. She has 2 kids, and they weren't letting her visit anymore. They told her that's no more visits. They say she spent 3 weeks in Bangkok visiting her husband every day except Saturday and Sunday. So, I mean, it's been brutal just going to the jail every day, especially being pregnant, everything else. She said of the prison visits, quote, all of the people there have been kind and courteous and gave us plenty of time to talk together. We talked mainly about the children and the future. They kiss his picture before they go to sleep at night. It's been a terrible shock for the whole family. Jesus. We all know Paul is innocent, but he has accepted the possibility that he may be locked up for a long time. It's wonderful that he's had the strength. He has faced this possibility and is able to live with it. He is keeping fit, and that's important to him. He's always doing press-ups and shadow boxing. He's even taught some Thai prisoners how to do those exercises. And so, yeah, she said, quote, look, I've overheard people in Sydney saying that that those 3 ought to be shot. I never really thought that would happen, even at the beginning. I didn't dream that was a possibility. Now, Warren Fellow's wife said, by the way, she'll divorce him in a couple of years.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fucking asshole.
Big time. She's there. She said that she said that she never believed her husband would be shot either. She said, I'm sure we'll still have a future. And then she divorced him. She said he looked terrible while he was handcuffed and leg shackled.
He's not fit.
Yeah, not at all. He's looking awful. Paul looks good, but Warren, no. I guess she says she's been to Bangkok before with her husband, to other places in Asia. She enjoys traveling, but not this time, obviously.
He really let himself go.
He let himself go. I don't know. I'm going to have to put in some papers. All I've done is go to the prison to see Warren, talk to the lawyers, and think about my divorce that I'm going to plot. Jesus Christ. She said that she dashed around shops hunting for an inflatable pillow for her husband, hoping that the prison authorities would allow him to have it. I highly doubt it, as we'll talk about later on. She said, one thing that cheered me up at the prison, Warren is giving stylish haircuts to some of the other prisoners. That seemed to cheer him up, too. Okay. The prison people are giving people flock of seagulls shit over here. Thai guys with, like, I don't know if it's kind of
Australian haircuts.
Crazy, weird Australian new wave fucking haircuts. She said, the prison people have been very good to us. They allow us to talk for quite a long time. And although there's a wire mesh between us, I could at least give him a kiss arriving and leaving. Okay, so 1981 comes around, and Nettie Smith is on trial now, as we talked about. Charge of conspiracy to supply heroin. It's a goddamn mess here. The judge here said, quote, he admits before the court, this is about his brother, Nettie's brother Edwin. He admits before the court and before the jury that he has deliberately given false evidence. This wasn't about the brother, I'm sorry. This was about an associate who got busted with them, who then gave up information and then later said that wasn't true. No. So essentially clouding the waters, basically. Now, Edwin Smith gave evidence, and he said that Nettie once told him that there were millionaires around the world who had their money in assets. He said that he would be the only one to have it in cash. So he was saying that had nothing to do with drugs. He just didn't want to keep his money in assets. He would rather have it in cash. That's just how he rolled.
Okay.
So that's how drug dealers tend to do. So 1983 is court 83.
4 years.
Yeah.
Holy
October
shit.
12th, 1978 is when they were busted. October 11th.
God.
So they finally, Hayward and Fellows plead guilty to illegal possession of heroin, but Sinclair and the taxi driver both say that they're not doing that. They deny all the charges here. So, wow. He said in court, the trial comes up, and Hayward said that he confessed to police in a statement because they had threatened him with life imprisonment or execution if he didn't. He said that, he just was threatened into it. He thought that he had to do it and he had no choice. So they had to plead guilty for that. But he said that he's basically the attempted smuggling is what they plead not guilty to, but they plead guilty to possession. That's the deal they make here. Sinclair, like I said, denies all charges. Hayward said in court here that the statement that's in his handwriting, but he said it wasn't true because they said, well, this is your confession. Is that true? And he said, that's my handwriting, but it's not what actually fucking happened. He said that they told him that he'd never see his wife and children again if he did not confirm the statement dictated by the police, basically. He said Major Verrat said the only way I could help myself was to write the statement. Otherwise, I'd be sent to prison for life or executed. He said life imprisonment in Thailand meant that I would never be released. He also said that he'd been trying for some time to get a Farang, which is apparently a foreigner, executed in Thailand. He said, I was so scared. I thought of my wife. She was pregnant again at the time and thought of not seeing her again. Major Verrat said if I cooperated with them, I would get a light sentence, perhaps only 5 years. We'll find out about that. So the question, the judge asks Hayward, had he signed the statement because he had no choice? Was he under duress and threats? And they said they were at the police station for 30 days after their arrest.
Oh, Jesus.
Interrogated for 15 straight days before they gave a statement. 15 days of interrogation. That makes Brendan Dassey look like nothing. Yeah. Brendan Dassey would have jumped out the window saying WrestleMania if they kept him in there for that long.
I have to wait for the next one?
Yeah. Jesus. He said, I did not understand it and asked for the Australian embassy to have it translated before I signed it. That was refused, and it was not translated. Then Major Verrat repeated his earlier threats. So he said he decided to sign the statement that was written in Thai because of his family. He said he made his first trip to Bangkok in August 1978 and had come with money for William Sinclair from Nettie's son, and it's a whole mess there, basically. They were just giving money from one guy to another. He understood that Sinclair wanted the money to buy a house and a bar in Bangkok. So he's saying, I thought I was just bringing a guy money who needed money. I didn't know there was a whole drug thing the first time I went.
I was looking for a liquor license.
Yeah, he said, I thought I was doing a guy a favor, just doing my brother-in-law a solid, bringing a dude some cash. He said 2 months later, Fellows asked him to go with him to Bangkok and said he had business there involving, quote, a lot of money. He said after they arrived, Fellows told him he had come to buy marijuana. That was the original thought. They're there to buy weed. He said, quote, I would never have come if I had known that before leaving Sydney, even the marijuana. So they questioned him about the suitcase and everything. And he said that Fellows had brought the suitcase to his room for safekeeping so nobody would mess with him. And Hayward denied that it was his intention to carry the red suitcase with heroin out of Bangkok and through the airport. He confessed to possession because, quote, it was in my room. Which makes sense. So that's what ends up happening there. They are found, not surprisingly, guilty.
Very fucking guilty.
Very fucking guilty, including Sinclair, the taxi driver. Everybody's found guilty. Now, the judge here, Thaworn Thantraporn is his name.
You sound like me.
Thantraporn.
That sounds hot.
Thewarn Thantraporn.
Yep.
That sounds like a genre of porn.
It's on Pornhub.
Yeah, absolutely. Go to the Thewarn section there. I want Thantraporn. This is bullshit. Give me the Thantra. He said he was giving Paul a lighter sentence than the others because he felt that he'd been used by the narcotics syndicate, which is good. Yeah. And he said that Hayward's profession as an athlete and the fact that he had no record of previous involvement in narcotics suggested that he had been used, is what the judge says. And he says, you, sirs, all of you, may fuck off. Warren Fellows, 33 years in a Thai prison. William Sinclair, 33 years in a Thai prison.
Oh, my God.
Taxi driver with the delivery guy, 33 years and 4 months in a Thai prison.
The longest.
And Hayward, 20 years in a Thai prison.
That's a light sentence.
That's a light sentence. Judge gave Jimmie and me 10 years like he was giving away candy. That's all I could think of for that one. Just him and De Niro and Leona standing there. 20 years.
Oh, my God.
Yes. The judge also said the court had not believed any of their claims about being mistreated by police. Wow. None of those.
Why couldn't you just be into buttholes?
Right? What is wrong with you guys? You fuck little kids and none of this would happen. Some of the, the judge said that a photograph presented in evidence showed Hayward in Sydney with Nettie Smith. That had convinced him that Hayward was part of the gang because he had seen him with Nettie Smith. Never mind that
that's his family.
It's his fucking brother-in-law. So what's he supposed to do? Whether he likes him or not, doesn't matter. He said he may not have known all that was going on, but he was a part of the gang, the judge said. Judge also said it was clear that Sinclair had organized the purchase of the 8.4 kilograms of heroin, which had been found in Hayward's possession, and that he had been receiving large sums of money for a long time from Australia. This William Sinclair had. He was part of a politically and financially influential group which lived luxuriously. Like some other foreigners, he had married a Thai girl simply to make it possible for him to stay a long time in Thailand.
Shitbag.
That's it. Right there. That's it. And he married a Thai. Now, Sinclair, he says afterwards, quote, my conviction is based on statements that are forgeries. I am going to take it up with the NSW Premier. So he's saying, I'm going.
The Supreme Court?
It's this Australian. He's going right to the top in Australia. He's going to get to the bottom of this and they're going to help him politically.
There's heroin involved.
Yeah,
they're not going to fuck with you.
Lots of it.
$3 million worth. And you want to talk to us?
Right. But keep in mind, Sinclair keeps going here.
Okay.
Now, Hayward, they asked him about it afterwards. How do you feel about being sentenced to 20 years in a Thai prison? I don't know what the answer is going to be there, really, other than fuck. But he smiled and said, how do you think I feel? I got 10 years less than the others. He looked at it as a positive. Talk about glass half full. Holy shit.
Like he can survive it.
Talk about glass half full.
Yeah.
20 years in a Thai prison. Could have been 33, I guess, right? Holy shit, that's a positive cat.
A taxi driver got 4 months. Fuck. I'll be all right.
I'll be fine. They all said they're going to appeal their sentences. The lawyers said they would appeal within 10 days. Now, in prison, this is what we have to talk about. Now they're in a Thai prison.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you guys have heard anything about Thai prisons in the 70s and 80s, but they're notoriously the worst, most wretched, fucking corrupt. Basically, they're like, I don't know what it's like now because Sheriff Joe Arpaio is gone, but they're basically like what Maricopa County jails were up until a few years ago.
Minus nice guards.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but that's a fucking fact too. I mean, like, read books about jails in Maricopa County, and they are worse than foreign jails. The international people that monitor prisons come here more than they go to fucking Honduras.
Really?
They would. It's
to investigate this shit.
It's so bad here. It's a third world jail here. This was on Locked Up Abroad.
Really?
That book I told you to read.
Arizona.
That Sean Atwood guy, because he was an English guy. That was Locked Up Abroad because he was in here in a crazy condition. Third world shit. That's
in
what this
Arizona.
That's what this jail was here. And when you read the descriptions from a Thai prison, it sounds exactly like him describing downtown Phoenix.
Tents.
No, not the tents, the fucking jail.
Oh,
the actual building.
Wow.
Yeah, the building, the horseshoe, all that shit. That was fucking
4th Avenue.
Worse than anything.
Unbelievable.
Just as bad as a Thai prison, pretty much.
Jesus.
Just as fucking bad. Food is worse, actually, though, in Maricopa County.
Yeah, I've heard it's not great.
Was worse than that. So, and it's the same thing here. here, if you don't have money, you'll starve to death because the only way is to, commissary is the only way. Otherwise, they give you this shit food that gives you the diarrhea.
Can you imagine? And we voted that guy so many times because we were like, he takes it hard on the prisoners.
And this isn't political either. This is somebody I know very, very well who is a very conservative person, voted, right wing his whole life, and he's and voted for Sheriff Joe Arpaio many times, and very much so got a DUI and had to spend a weekend in jail, and came out and said, that corrupt son of a bitch, cocksucking motherfucker. Once he got in there, he found out all the vending machines, everything is a scam that's all owned by Joe Arpaio's family members. The whole thing
is a legal crime
is a honeypot. It's just a big legal crime syndicate, and it's not political. It's not right left. It's fucking.
It's disgusting.
Objectively corrupt and not corrupt. It's just corrupt. And somehow he got away with that for years and years. And now he's old enough where he's just going to die an old man, never having to fucking go into his own stupid jails and serve a day in there.
Meanwhile, running and losing
piece of shit.
Election after election afterwards because we now know how much of a piece of garbage he is.
Once they got the hold off, it was like, well, fuck that old asshole. Like, why? In Maricopa County, we just got sick of hearing about it, if nothing else. Even if you didn't care about the prisoners, you'd be like, let's get somebody. I'm tired of fucking hearing about this. What the shit, man?
I'm tired of him costing us money.
That's the other thing. All these fucking lawsuits. In Maricopa, they would talk about they would not give you medical care.
None.
Basically, you'd get like a bad spider bite that would get infected and get a huge thing that would turn into a. Basically, guys would have feet amputated from this type of shit. They would say that medical doesn't treat insect bites. That's what they'd say. So no matter what, and then they would wait until wounds would get gangrenous before they would treat anybody, and then they'd have to amputate shit rather than just giving him antibiotics a while ago. Shit like that. It's bad stuff.
He sucked, man.
It's worse. It's almost as bad as a Thai prison in the 80s. So within a year of being in a Thai prison, Warren Fellows and also Paul Hayward take up heroin.
What?
Yeah, there's nothing else to do.
They're doing drugs in Thai prison.
That's it. That's all you can do. Apparently, it's so bad there that it's like, that's all. Well, here, it's the same way. Yeah. Everybody, like this guy, the book I was reading, everybody in there is on fucking drugs. He's like, it's 90% of the people are shooting shit up. 2/3 of the inmates had Hep C in prison, in Arizona prisons.
Good God.
Over half the inmates have Hep C from needles. That's what I mean. Like, they don't even give a fuck. So.
Is it just trying to escape their scenario? Or
yeah,
is it,
absolutely. They're in prison. So that's what are you going to do? I can sit here all day in my shitty cell, or I can fucking be high, and at least I'll be, time will go by quicker. There's that.
It's a little more fun.
Yep. They would use the inside of ballpoint pens to shoot the needles, to use that whole thing. And if you can Google how they do the prison rigs, because it's with the pen and everything.
Horrible.
And all the drugs are smuggled in by the guards, of course, because they're corrupt and they'll take money, just like they'll take $20 for a kiss.
Right.
They'll take money for heroin, too. So that's how it goes. Now, in December of 1983, though, both men are found guilty of possession of heroin inside the jail.
Oh, no.
And given an additional 27 months to their sentences.
Oh, no.
So 2 more years.
Oh, God.
Jesus Christ. Can you imagine that?
Heroin is the beginning and end of his goddamn problem.
It's fucking crazy.
Poor
And how ironic is that, though? He wasn't even doing it before. And then in 1984, Sinclair appeals. His appeal grants him a new trial, because I think shit's a little corrupt over there. And he's acquitted.
What?
Sinclair gets off scot-free.
And he gets to go home.
He lives there. He gets to leave. He gets to not be in jail anyway.
He's got a Thai wife.
That's it. So that's it, and that's all. While these guys get an extra 27 months.
No.
Heroin addicted in a Thai prison.
Yeah.
Not great. Fellows and Hayward, though, they claimed the heroin bust in jail was a setup. Mm-hmm. He says, quote, this is what Fellows says, quote, "We had an argument with a guard who wanted money. He then grabbed at our clothes, stuck out his hands, and said, 'Heroin, heroin.' It was a frame." So basically, if you don't give me money, I'm going to say you have heroin and fucking, bust you.
Give you more time.
Give you more time.
Right.
So 1985 comes around. Now, up until this time, Hayward was in the Bang Quang maximum security prison. Bang Quang.
Sounds so racist.
It sounds so racist. Hey, listen here, Bang Quang Ching Chong. Come here for a minute.
Yeah, from like fucking Bang Quang.
Aren't you from Bang Quang, fucking Laotian land, or whatever the hell you fucking people from down there?
Sounds terrible.
It does sound bad. This was a maximum security prison where people were testing positive for AIDS at like a HIV and full-blown AIDS at a rate that is just unbelievable because they're sharing needles in there. It is not good. So Paul is visited by a reporter at this point, and this was an article that was out, and they reprinted it in like 2017. It's a guy named Neil Cadigan writes this article, and he asked Paul, how could you keep sane in here? And Hayward said that, he said, quote, I often think I'm going mad. Well, you know what? Let's do it in their own words, because this is from jail. This is what in their own words is for. Let's do it in their own words. Quote, but when I really get depressed, I tell myself, don't crack up. You could do it. There's others worse off than you. I think, God, at least I'm still healthy. The thing that keeps me going is the hope that one day I'll get out and see my wife and kids again and be able to start all over. I really believe something is going to happen eventually. Yeah. Oh, boy. That's
still with the half glass full.
He's a very positive guy, very positive. He says if they're having an appeal, he says, if this attempt fails, I'll wait another 2 years and try again. You see, the Thai calendar, it is the year 2528. The Thai calendar is different, like the Chinese calendar. In 3 years, the king will have been on the throne for, I think, 40 years. Anyhow, there will be a big celebration and there's going to be a big amnesty. That's my other big hope of getting out. Thailand, for these celebrations, will do like a big amnesty and let a shitload of prisoners out in celebration of the national whatever the fuck.
That's horrifying.
It's an odd thing to do. Let's celebrate. You know what? Let's make it more interesting. Let's mix criminals into this. Here, come on, guys. Get in that parade. Let's see what happens. Now, he talks about the conditions in his cell, or in his deal here. Quote, here, the foreigners must mix with the Thais. I guess he was in a place where they would separate foreigners from the local people.
Smart.
Here, he said, the foreigners must mix with the Thais, and there are 27 in our cell.
Wait, what?
It's smaller than this room, which is no bigger than 40 square meters.
With nearly.
So we're talking 120 square foot room with 27 people in it.
You get six square feet together each.
Yeah. That's,
oh my God.
Let's hear here. Quote, 12 sleep along one wall, 13 on another, and 2 guys in the middle.
Oh,
that's how they do it.
gross.
They line and the whole floor is covered. And then there's the can of water. It's the toilet.
Yeah.
You wake up at 5 a.m. busting for a leak and you can't go because the bloody thing's full. Man, it's pretty bad. There's 27 people in there.
Pissing in a bucket.
And
if you piss in it, it overflows.
It overflows, and then it's going to happen.
God.
I blame myself. I got myself into this, and I'm going to keep fighting through it. He does say, though, he has a lot of sympathy for Gail and his kids, Bradley, Kelly, and Belinda, one of which, Belinda, he's never seen before because she was born after, he was born, after he was in prison. He says, most of all, I feel sorry for my wife and kids, what they have gone through. Gail has stuck by me. She's been great. She writes and still writes and sends photos. I miss my family so much, and the football. It hurts not being able to see the kids grow up. Bradley's been playing a lot of sports, football on the weekends, and Aussie rules at school. Aussie rules, I don't even know how to play the game.
Me neither, buddy.
Me neither. Thank you. Thank you very much, Paul. I reckon I could still have been playing football first grade until I was 30. It's good to get rugby league weeks, I guess it's a newspaper, but I get a little depressed, thinking I may have still been playing like some of these guys. Yeah. I bet.
I feel worse for the guy whose bed, because, you figure everybody lines the floor. There's not a square inch.
There's somebody by the piss bucket.
Right. And if it overflows, you just pissed on somebody's bed.
Someone's pissing, it splashes.
Oh,
you're going to get piss speckles.
Jesus, it's everywhere.
27 different piss speckles all over you. That is bad. That's why I don't go in urinals. Yeah, all over your shoes. Gee, thanks. I like my pants and shoes. I'd like to it'd be better if they were covered in speckles of urine, though. I think that would be.
And that's somebody else's dick hair.
Yeah, no shit. Now, Sinclair wrote a book since then.
Because he's free.
Because he's free.
He's living a life and he's happy.
Yeah. And Fellows and Hayward are both pissed about it. They said it's bullshit. They went out of his way to make himself look clean and all that sort of shit. They said a copy found its way into Bang Quang. Hayward said, quote, Sinclair's book, let's face it was pretty far-fetched. He really had to put us down to push his own barrow and try to prove his innocence. His talk about the conditions here and corruption was pretty right, though. Because he was talking about the prison shit.
I don't want to read any more about it. The book is in the piss bucket.
It's in the piss bucket over there. It's swollen up.
Reach in and grab a page.
Yeah. So this reporter asked him how he's surviving in jail. How are you surviving in here? He said, quote, "You've got to have money. We can't bag this place. It would be self-defeating, but it's really bad. The food, it's rice rolled like oats. You can't eat it." I don't know. I don't know how that works. Rolled oats? I don't know. I don't know. But he says it's inedible. It costs about $200 a month extra to live reasonably. That's to get your, I'm sure, hygiene products and food, shit like that. There's a tea lady. You can get coffee, cornflakes, fruit, jam, bread, and Ovaltine from the coffee shop. But I'm out of money. Gail's doing it really tough. She's on Social Security and can't afford to send me much.
Oh, no.
I've got 3 sisters and a brother who send $25 a month each when they can. There hasn't been much lately, so we just don't eat much.
This poor bastard.
This is fucking horrific, right? Yeah, this is how people were living in Phoenix. You know what I mean?
I kind of feel bad for him.
My cousin was in jail in Phoenix. He ended up dying of a heroin overdose when he was 18. Yeah. He was in jail when he was 17 or some shit in 18, 19 in downtown here. He moved here from Pennsylvania to get away from heroin.
Right.
He was growing up in Scranton and he was a junkie and he moved out here to get away from it. Right. And this is not the place to come if you want to get away from drugs.
No, it's not.
Got right into it, got into jail where it was even worse.
Yeah.
And he was way more fucked up on it. They let him out and he was just withering away. And same shit though. He said there's no food. He lived on honey buns when my mother or his mother would send him some money. He would buy honey buns and that's all he would eat. That's all the fucking food that they had pretty much. So yeah,
you get to look Australian in there.
That's how it works. Even if you're Italian and from Pennsylvania. He said, there's one American here who has a video set up and gets all these movies. There's another guy, a Canadian, who was John Walker's case partner. He's got a hut built that has Thais who carry water for him, act as servants. These guys must be spending $20,000 a month for comfort. So much like American jails, if you have money, you can be fucking comfortable. Yeah. I mean, that is the way it works, which really shouldn't be the way it fucking works.
That's wild.
Jail should be the same for everyone, I would imagine, right? Isn't that the point of jail?
I mean, apart from your charge putting you somewhere that's worse, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it should be
things that you shouldn't be able to get.
Yeah.
Less luxuries for the worst criminals. But on par crimes, how about they get the same life?
I feel like no matter how rich you are, jail should be the ultimate
equalizer.
Yeah. That should be the levelizer. Right. Level that shit out. So if you're rich and you go to jail, you don't have to really live like you're in jail. You just can't go anywhere, but you can kind of have a better life than everyone else.
Bernie Madoff
Weird as shit.
Jody Arias should have the same menu for lunch.
That's what I mean. Forever.
Right.
Forever. I don't care.
Shouldn't be whatever she can get because she got a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fucking what it is.
J-Pay money.
Yeah. So now at this point, by the way, he's not admitting to the heroin use. He's not telling the press this. This is just what happened. The article says that there's an electronic workshop and a workshop for making toys and another for furniture, but Hayward and fellows don't work. He says they just drift through the days.
That's where the North Pole is?
Yeah, apparently it's in Bangkok.
Bangkok prison?
Yeah. Hayward gets involved in sports, he says. There's about 20 Americans, and basketball, volleyball, and football are played occasionally, like actual football, not soccer. He said they're all played occasionally, and he said sports, the things he gets into enthusiastically. He said they've not allowed us to play for about 5 weeks though. At this point, he said I've tried to get some league played here, but I can't get enough starters. The Yanks are always throwing the ball forward, torpedo throws like in gridiron. They reckon I'm not bad at basketball for a little guy though. They don't. He's throwing the fucking rugby ball like that. He's like, Jesus, stop doing that. See what I mean? It's like a torpedo because it's built that way to go far.
Some guy fading back says Bradshaw going deep. I don't get it.
I don't get shit over here, but whatever. He says, be Lynn Swan. I'm like, who the fuck is she? No, I'm not doing that.
She sounds hot.
She sounds hot. Can I see a picture? He said he got a letter from Australia there. It was from a woman from a Christian group. He said, I get these letters. They read a story which was in the paper over there about me being a born-again Christian. That's broken rule. Mm-hmm. I read the Bible. I believe. You get so much time in here and you read a lot. I get visits all the time from this missionary woman. She's great. Lets me bang her missionary. No, I'm just kidding. She's great. You know, she's been through Vietnam and all that. I pray every night since my mother died. Both my parents have died since I've been in here. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Every night I sit up and pray for myself and my family. I used to pray for my daughter. Kelly was very ill. That's his middle daughter. Yeah. They thought she had Down syndrome at first, which is not an ill. That's a weird.
Your kid's 8. She developed Down.
She's got about 101 temperature. I think it's Down syndrome. I don't. A weird thing to say, but something to do with her hearing. Jesus Christ.
Get your shit together,
Come
Australia.
on, man. Said it ended up having something to do with her hearing, and she had an operation the November before last. I kept thinking her sickness was a punishment for me, you know. I prayed and prayed. God, I can't wait to get out of here and see them, to start again. I know I've done wrong. I know it. But it's not fair on my family.
Don't they have free healthcare in Australia?
I'm pretty sure.
I don't want it.
Socialized healthcare. Jesus Christ! It's also the 70s. Where they're like, I don't know. She's a bit
downsy.
She's a bit bubbly, I guess. I don't know. It's like,
I don't want free healthcare if my daughter's going to get diagnosed with Downs.
We think she's got Downs, and it's like, no, her hearing's just bad. Not the same thing.
No, doctor, her stool's soft. That's all.
That's all it is.
She has a fever and diarrhea.
Help her.
I'm no doctor, sir, but I know this is not.
Jesus Christ. Now, his wife says she's worried about the uncertainty about when Paul returns, how different their lives would be if he ever gets out. She says, I suppose I worry about Paul, what he may do. If for some reason we don't hit it off, he might think I've lost my wife, my kids, my football career for what?
Yeah.
Okay. But, oh, Jesus Christ. Here's another thing. This is crazy. That was the day the reporter came to see Paul. Yeah. He said Paul looked good.
Yeah.
He looked strong. He looked excellent. He had I'm feeling positive. The next day, someone else went to see him and then talked to that reporter and had a much different view of what he saw in Paul. This was a guy who was a former player who is now a Qantas flight attendant at the time. He said that he stopped by.
Football's got a big career.
They don't make a lot of money, apparently.
You go from professional sports to a fucking flight attendant?
To more wine.
Jesus.
So this guy who went to see Paul told the reporter that Hayward was virtually non-comprehensible. His hair was shaved, and the visit just lasted just a few minutes. And the reporter said, Jesus, when were you there? Turned out it was the day after this reporter was there. So basically, he knew this interview was coming, and he held it together. Yeah. And then he fucking went off the deep end the next day, back into heroin and everything else. Said he couldn't even understand what he was saying. Wow. He was a fucking mess. So, they said that had to be what it was. Now, 1985, Nettie Smith is back in action again here. More people. There's evidence accepted by a police tribunal here that people were planning. A police officer was planning to import heroin from New Guinea and distribute it through Nettie Smith. This police officer had been dismissed from the force and was managing the Iron Duke Hotel. Okay. And the owner of that hotel was Nettie Smith. Uh-huh. So then Smith was also run over by a car at this point. Outside of the Iron Duke on April 2nd, 86. They reported it as an attempted murder by motor vehicle, but they said that there may have been just him trying to throw the trail off of shit, Nettie Smith. They thought it was ended up bullshit. He ended up having just a broken leg and some broken ribs, getting hit by a car. It's not bad.
It's a price to pay for fucking trying to throw him off your scent.
Oh, shit. Jesus Christ.
That's dedication.
Yeah, so he keeps going. Now, Fellows, while he's in prison there, Warren Fellows in Thailand, he attempted suicide several times. One time, he says he was locked in a dark room, which he talks about in his book, these dark rooms they put you in that are worse than the hole in America. He wrapped a sarong around his neck and tied it to a hook on the ceiling, but the sarong snapped and he fell, and that was that. He said that was his one. He really wanted to kill himself. He also became addicted to heroin. He said heroin was very easily available in Thai prisons, and it was the only form of escape from what the fuck they had going on in there. Yeah, he said that, he called it an outstanding case of poetic justice that he became addicted after selling heroin, basically. So February 1st, 1987 here. Jesus Christ, this is fucking interesting here. A reporter goes to see Paul in prison, right? And this reporter Now, let me ask you this. If you're a reporter and you're quoting someone who doesn't speak your language but is speaking your language in broken English, do you report exactly what the fuck they said in their broken English?
You betcha.
Or do you report what you feel like they're trying to say?
Nope.
Well, let's find out
Verbatim.
what they did there. Okay. So he said he ran into an elderly nurse and blah, blah, blah. And then he says, quote, a Thai warder sidles up. This is a prison guard. Quote, you come to see Paul? He talked to me many time. Tell me once famous in Australia. Big time rugby player. That right?
Yep.
So he couldn't just, he talked to me many times and just add that in and make it smooth. Nope. He's like, no, we got to let everyone know that he's Asian. Let's make sure, he said, and then he said, we love you long time, which I thought was a little weird for a prison guard to say. That's how fucking ridiculous it was.
He said, you too, buku.
Yeah, you too, buku. You too, buku. You too, buku. Oh my God. So, he's been in there. Then, in 1987, Paul he went to the dentist in prison, went to see the prison dentist, but was refused permission by an orderly. He didn't know what the fuck was going on. He demanded to know the reason. Paul did. Why the fuck am I being denied dental care? This is ridiculous. The orderly said that the dentist was not treating anyone who had tested positive for AIDS.
Oh, no.
Which Paul has. Tested positive for AIDS. Yes. And by the way, Warren as well, I think, but we'll talk about him. Paul said, quote, how did I feel when he told me that? Nothing. I was in a daze.
Stoned.
I was stoned and shocked.
Yeah.
He said, quote, it's amazing. Since the news about me started spreading around the jail yesterday, people have been coming up to me begging me to give them some of my blood so they will test positive and maybe they can get released. They must be mad. That's how bad Thai prison is.
They want AIDS.
They want fucking HIV because maybe they can get out of it. And back then, 87, HIV is a death sentence. Yeah. There's no Magic Johnson.
No.
They does not fucking exist.
No.
This is, Magic Johnson existed.
Traveling across the Mexican border trying to get shit.
This is, you got HIV, you got full-blown AIDS soon, and you fucking died.
Right.
Period. There was no bullshit around it. They didn't have anything to treat it, really. The shit they had was weak. It was interesting. He said that he's determined to stay fit and avoid falling victim to full-blown AIDS. He says, quote, tell Gail I feel fine physically and that I'm going to fight this thing. She's like, yeah, let's fight it from there.
Yeah.
What? They said that he's muscular and that he does training every day. He said, though, meanwhile, rumors here persist that foreign AIDS victims will soon be released. Under a new Thai law, foreigners found to have AIDS must be deported. Yeah. But that's not prisoners, so they don't know what to do with prisoners.
Right.
Yeah, so that's how it works, though. If you're a foreigner with AIDS, they would deport you.
Out.
Jesus. He said, this reporter said, when I visited Hayward 10 days ago, he was feeling quite cheerful, saying his children would not know him because Gail had put photos of him playing football in the lounge of their home. He added, Gail's had it really hard. After I'd be here a couple years, she wrote me saying she had been thinking of doing herself in. Killing herself, that she couldn't go on anymore, but she said she had to keep going for the sake of the kids. She's a wonderful woman. Jesus Christ. Now, what is worse than all this, okay?
Oh, boy.
Thai prison, 27 men in a room, sleeping around, piss bucket, AIDS, you name it, heroin. This is disgusting, okay?
All of it's tolerable for 20 years if you really fuck up, minus AIDS.
And
sprinkle that in, it's all fucked.
Well, let's take that back. This is when you say that he's my kind of guy.
Yeah.
Let's back it up one step here and listen to this story from Warren Fellow's book, okay? Wow. Okay, by the way, he describes in the corner of the room there's a hole in the floor.
Yeah.
This is not the bucket room, this is a different prison. Corner of the room, there's a hole in the floor that you piss and shit into.
Uh-huh.
It's just a hole in the floor in the corner, okay? It's a dark, deep, nasty, dank hole.
You don't even know where it goes.
You don't know where it goes. You know how often they clean it.
Yeah.
It's a sewer in there. It's disgusting, okay? Now, quote, one morning, Paul squatted over the hole in the floor to relieve his bowels.
Hey.
Out of the sewer, like something from a monster film, a sewer rat sprung and bit him.
Oh, my God.
Shot out of the shithole, sprung out and bit him. Okay, now there's an old Southern term, crazier than a shithouse rat. Yeah. This is a shithole rat, which is the fucking crazy, a Thai shithole rat.
Thai prison shithole rat.
With the heroin shit running through his system.
That's why he has AIDS.
Dude, this
has been surviving on Thai prisoner rolled rice oat shit.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
With AIDS teeming through it.
How do you, at that point, you just go, I can't even, what is there? Even shitting is dangerous. Even shitting, I mean, something's going to leap out and bite me.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
Is that the most terrifying thing you've ever heard in your life?
Especially if it's like a Princess Bride giant rat.
Oh, it's covered in shit. It just popped out of a fucking shithole, too. It's covered in shit. So it's leaving like little shit footprints behind it, too, when it runs away.
It's flammable.
Oh, fuck yeah. So Warren says, quote, the poor bastard was inconsolable for an hour.
An hour?
An hour.
You're lucky he talked to you ever
I
again.
would have just been catatonic in the car. No rats, no more.
I don't know what disease I have right now.
No eating, no pooping. No eating, no pooping.
Clearly patient zero.
Yeah, if I don't eat, I won't shit. If I don't eat, I won't shit. If I don't eat, I won't shit. Just over and over again. That's all he says. I don't have to go. I don't have to go.
I need to write the leader of North Korea. I need to find out how to make myself just efficient.
I can do
no
it.
More shitting ever
no more
again.
shitting. They know.
Dear fearless, what is he?
Fearless leader.
Fearless leader.
Well, something like that.
Dear the leader.
How do you get 100% intestinal?
I never want to shit again. Here is a documented photograph of what bit me on my anus thigh.
How do you get?
On my ass thigh.
Wow. Yeah, he said, quote, it had been nothing to do with the pain, but more the horror of the moment. Yeah. Being bitten by the most frightfully ugly animal in the world, which came out of the depths of a dark sewer as he was using it. Nightmarish.
In a Thai prison.
In a Thai prison.
That makes it so much worse.
So much worse. The whole thing's so fucking bad. They're stuck in this fucking place with the, I mean, is the shithole full? Is that the only way I could imagine why this rat would pop out of there? It's full in here. I need some air. It's overflowing. So who do they send in? Who else? Paul Calhoun, shit pipe enthusiast. And he says, how is it you come to arrive here? Jesus fucking Christ. All right, listen, guys, fellas, listen, I claim a lot of things. I'll come on, clean your shit pipes, I'll smack your wife.
Right.
I ain't doing neither of those things. First of all, smack your cellmate doesn't rhyme.
Right.
And second of all, I ain't going near that fucking thing. I'm sorry. I deal with shit pipes. Your shit pipes are beyond clogged, my friend. I'm sorry. I look at it, they're so clogged, there's fucking rats leaping from them. What do I look like over here?
Fecal rodents.
This is ridiculous. The smell is so bad, I can't even focus on making another jingle to make this situation work. I can't. I'm fucking, my eyes are bleeding right now, and I smell pennies, and that's it. I got to get the fuck out of here. Poof. And in a poof of shit and pipes.
Pennies.
He's gone. I don't know.
Gross.
So, yeah. That's, and they're like, what the fuck, Paul?
Come back.
Come back.
We need you.
Bring your hose.
My ass thigh is bleeding.
It's bleeding. So December 1988, more Nettie Smith shenanigans here. Finally, after all this, he hasn't spent any more time in jail and everything. Finally, he's arrested for attempted robbery of Botany Council's $160,000 Christmas payroll.
What is he doing?
He tried to. This guy's like a comic book villain, this Nettie Smith. I'll send people to Thai prisons and steal from the Christmas payroll. He's probably sent that rat. That's his rat. It came back to him and he's petting it. Good job. Very good. He's petting its little head, wiping shit all over himself.
Australian Willard.
Yeah,
What's
that's
his
what
name?
it is.
Willard,
yeah. You got it. Well, finally, they have so much evidence on him, he is forced to plead guilty in September of 1989 and receives a sentence of 13 years.
Wow.
So finally, you, sir, may fuck off.
13?
13. It's better than these guys having nothing, because at the same time this is going on, in early 1989, there are rumors that Paul's going to be released.
Really?
And released early. Yeah, he's expected to be released. He's been held there, obviously, forever. It's announced that he could receive the maximum 50% remission available to prisoners under the amnesty to celebrate the King of Thailand's 60th birthday, just like he said. But at this point, he's trying to say he doesn't have AIDS, too.
Really?
He's like, I'm good. In the paper here, he has an article in the paper where he does an interview, and it says, quote, but Hayward rolls up his sweaty T-shirt to show off his fit torso and says, quote, I ain't got no AIDS. Okay? I want everyone to know I'm not contagious.
No.
You are, sir.
I don't want to know.
I don't care what your six-pack looks like. He says that he has tested HIV positive, which he doesn't have AIDS yet. That's true. True, but contagious is another issue, and he shouldn't be saying that. He says that, I'm going to try to live. He says, my father lived until he was 60. I'm going to try to live that long when he gets out. He says, of course, I worry, even if you lose a little bit of weight, you think this might be AIDS, he says. So, if he loses 5 pounds, he's like, the AIDS is taking over.
No, we don't say that about Adele.
No. That's true. Oh, the AIDS. Well, she doesn't have AIDS. She wasn't HIV positive
That's a good
either.
point, but we don't say that.
If she was, we'd be like, oh, the AIDS. Magic Johnson knows he has to keep himself pudgy.
Right.
He was like a svelte player. He's a pudgy fuck since he retired because he's like, I got to stay fat. Otherwise, people are going to say Magic's dying.
Right.
But if he stays fat, they go, look at Magic, fat as fuck. He's living life.
Killing it.
Living life, man. They said that his blonde hair is thinning a little and his fair skin is sunburnt, like every other Australian. He hasn't even been outside.
Right.
That's the thing. He said that he also spent some time in the prison hospital with tuberculosis. Jesus Christ.
TB
and HIV
in the 90s.
Yeah, he says. But we'll talk about this. This is 89 actually.
Mm-hmm.
That might be actually. I don't think that's tuberculosis. I think he might have had AIDS. Although TB does spread through prisons like crazy. Yeah. He says, "quote I don't have AIDS. I see my doctor every day." You know who sees their doctor every day?
Somebody with AIDS.
Somebody with a very deadly autoimmune disease.
What do you have then, sir? Because I haven't seen a doctor in a long time.
Yeah. So May 1st, 1989, Paul is released from prison finally.
Okay.
They let him out. Warren Fellows is also released in 1989 after the king pardons him.
Really?
I don't know how the fuck that happened, but May of 1989, a week later, TV networks are tooth and nail fighting for Paul's story. They want the story of this rugby player who went to a Thai prison.
And we want to interview you from behind glass.
Yeah, but we do, There's a debate in Australia about that time of whether they're going to pass this law that we have where prisoners can't profit from their crimes. Mm-hmm. So they're wondering that, and there's a lot of people on both sides. One person saying, well, if people think that they're such scumbags, they don't have to watch the shit, and then no one will buy those stories.
That's a good point.
Blah, blah, blah. But murderers have interesting stories, and they shouldn't be able to make money
Everybody
off it.
wants to read that.
But this is this one's kind of, it's a foreign drug thing, so it's kind of different. You're not busted by them.
It's a victimless crime because nobody was hurt.
Nobody was hurt at that moment. Right. Yeah, they didn't get the heroin out. But finally, there was Channel 7, the place with that show that they put. They know how to market that Channel 7. They pay him $20,000, which is the exact amount of money he was supposed to make for the heroin. So either way, in the end, he ended up getting his $20,000. He just had to do a decade in prison first.
And get AIDS.
And be addicted to heroin and ruin his kids' lives and everything else here.
Bitten by a shithouse rat.
I mean, you can't help but fucking feel bad for this guy. I mean, honestly.
Poor fuck.
I mean, shit, we have a lot of these fucking athletes that we do, and they're a mess, and we'll be like, we kind of feel bad for this one. We kind of feel bad for this one. I really feel like
honestly feel
on like a Toe Nash level. I feel bad, like a Ron LaFleur level, where I'm like, no. So, I mean,
Dexter Manley has coronavirus.
Yeah.
This is kind of on par with that. I kind of feel bad for him.
Kind of. I mean, you got him, he's got AIDS, there's HIV, his 3 children. I feel bad for all these people, Jimmy, but not nearly as bad as I feel for Paul Hayward, chief accountant and owner of Hayward Accountancy Services in the United Kingdom. Paul Hayward, director of quality assurance and regulatory affairs in Dallas. Paul Hayward, global integrated marketing leader in the greater Chicago area. Paul Hayward, marketing intern for Utah State University Athletics. Some blonde kid. And finally, Paul Hayward, who's verified on everything. He's a UK chief sports writer of The Telegraph. So he very much gets mixed up with this guy a lot, I would say.
Or an AIDS patient.
Or, yeah, they're like, how are you still going? March 1990, there's a big heroin bust in a hotel that Paul's, quote, walking by when it happens.
Paul.
It's a pub. I'm sorry, not a hotel. It's a pub. 15 people are arrested during an hour raid. 20 people were strip searched. They were looking for basically drugs and shit like that. The raid, as the Duke of Edinburgh and Enmore, began at 11:30 a.m. They rushed through the doors. They had dogs, all this shit. Now, this is fucking great. One man who didn't want to be named said he just arrived at the pub when the police burst in. He said, quote, I could hear one guy saying, what are you doing this to me for? I heard the sound of him being hit with something.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, when they raid shit, they don't answer questions. Two more people in the bar, an 83-year-old and a 76-year-old said, quote, they just said everybody on the floor, and then they saw us and they said, not you two. I didn't feel nervous at all.
Take your time, you two.
You're good. 83 years old sitting there like, you're probably not on heroin. Now, Paul, he was there. He said, quote, he was walking past when he saw several police pulling passerbys into the hotel. He said, not me, though.
Yeah.
I wasn't near this heroin den.
It wasn't me.
I was walking by. Oof, those poor blokes in there. 1992, one of his friends said that he is working at a garbage disposal company. In 1982, Paul. Problem is, he has having a very hard time kicking the heroin.
Yeah.
Plus, his disease is getting worse, and he has good days and bad days, like a lot of people with addiction problems. May 9th, 1992, he has a very bad day. He's at home with his family in the bathroom. About 3 p.m., he collapses. Ambulance officers tried to resuscitate him, but he is announced dead on arrival at Canterbury Hospital. Later found that he died of a heroin overdose.
Yeah.
Or he overdosed on heroin, not even the AIDS that got him.
Oh, no.
Died of a heroin overdose in his own bathroom.
He was fighting it.
He was fighting it. He was doing it at home. 3 kids and a wife he leaves behind.
She stuck
by him for that whole time. He got out, did heroin. I mean, this was not the person she married when he got out. This is now a heroin addict and everything else, and stayed with him until he died in her fucking bathroom. Poor Gail. Wow, Gail is a fucking trooper.
You got to assume that on some level he knew what he was doing when he was when he was
an addict.
Yeah.
That's all it
was.
But
I mean, when he was transporting it too, on some level, he had to be on being like,
I'm sure.
Maybe just a little bit for me.
Maybe, but I think he was an athlete looking for money.
Maybe
that's all it was. He didn't. I don't think he was even involved in the drug scene very much.
Maybe he had a pill problem.
Maybe back then, I don't even know if that was a thing.
How many years does it take of bashing yourself into people like
get
rugby
brain damage?
to get brain damage or
get it by like 8th grade, 9th grade?
Pain ailment where you require pills?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. He wasn't even 30 yet. I'm not sure. I think that's more of a... That wasn't... The painkillers weren't the same back then. Oxycontin in the 90s changed the game and all that shit. Painkillers weren't exactly the same, but you never know. A newspaper reporter here after he died said, quote, I knew Hayward vaguely in his football days and saw him 3 or 4 times after he came back to Sydney in 1989. Awkward, lost, jobless, despite strenuous efforts to get back into the workforce, and HIV positive. He was one of the saddest people I've ever met. Paul died alone last Saturday. In reality, though, it could have been said his life ended in 1978 when they locked him away in Bang Kwang prison.
Yeah.
Fuck. That's brutal. He also said that a teammate of Paul's had seen Paul just hours earlier and had bought Paul a couple of beers at a hotel. And he said that Hayward's, quote, seemed more positive than he'd been for some time.
Yeah, because he had heroin in his pocket.
Exactly. He went home and shot it.
He was jacked.
1997, Warren Fellows releases a book, Damage Done, 12 Years of Hell in a Bangkok Prison. Yeah. And it's a fucking doozy. We should do a bonus episode on this book because, dude, it's a fucking, wow. It's all about being in a Thai prison for 10 years. It's fucking crazy.
Does it get crazier than a shit house rat biting you?
Want to hear an excerpt quick?
Yeah.
I had heard of a game once called Maha Chai, a game that had gone on to become something of a legend in prison. I never saw this happen myself, but I saw drawings the other prisoners had done depicting the game. The guards would build a ball out of thatched bamboo, just big enough for a small human being to be placed inside. There was a hatch with a lock on the outside. On the day the game was to be played, some unpopular Thai prisoner prisoner was brought to the yard and placed inside the ball. The guards would push the ball around for a while, just for some fun before the main event. Then, into the yard, they would lead an elephant.
Oh my God! And it plays with the ball with a person inside.
The elephant was going to be taught to kick the ball. That's how they were training the elephant. As the prisoner screamed for mercy, the elephant, doing the best it could, would simply tap the ball around for a time, rolling it, and its powerless inhabitants a few feet at a time. But elephants are fairly impatient animals, and this would only last for a few minutes until they became bored. The game always ended the same way, with the elephant bringing its foot down upon the ball, crushing the man inside into a pulp of blood and bone, his last desperate howls buried by the laughter of the guards.
Wow. Before they sold the elephant to Ringling Brothers Circus.
Yeah, absolutely.
Holy shit.
And then he talks about the dark rooms. He talks about cockroaches, which they sound worse in here, honestly, in Maricopa County. Yeah. This guy, I read about the book in Maricopa County. He talked about waves of them coming over your fucking sheets where it felt like, you know.
I believe it.
It's, insane.
Our palm trees, that's what they nest in.
Yeah.
Palm trees are fucking everywhere.
They're
and they're all overgrown. And down in that area, gross.
Well, also, too, they don't clean shit in the prison. So he said there was cockroaches everywhere, crawling in everything and disturbing any sleep that you managed to get. During the day, the heat would bring ants out of the woodwork, and if you lay still for a while, they'd take you. At night, the mosquitoes were persistent. The Thai Air Force, they called them. Everything that lived in this place seemed to be bent on attack. The most horrifying of all were the sewer rats. As large as small cats, they were easily the ugliest, most frightening animals I've ever seen. They had long snouts like anteaters, fangs, and wicked eyes that seemed to glow in the dark. Their bodies were thick and slimy, as if oozing some sort of oily sludge. They were living in shit. Right. They weren't shy and retiring like rodents back in the cities in Australia, but were vicious and fearless.
Sounds like a possum.
They actually hissed at you when you looked at them. If you've ever seen...
When you look at that.
Jesus, if you've ever seen those Warner Brothers cartoons where a woman jumps on a chair at the sight of a mouse, you'll know something of how 30 hardened criminals looked when one of these rats got into a room. They'd come out at night in little packs, and they'd ferociously attack, biting chunks out of you as you slept. It was dreadful. If you tried to defend yourself, say by kicking them, they were quick to retaliate.
What? You can't even fight back.
No, they'll fight you. They're like, oh yeah, motherfucker, they're not afraid of you. He also wrote in 2000, 4,000 Days, My Life and Survival in a Bangkok Prison, which I don't know if that's like a updated version of it or what. But
that's a great book.
Can't get enough?
No.
Buy that fucking book, number one. And also, if you want some Paul Hayward stuff, I found one thing, a Newtown Jets, it's a card. It says he's a 5/8, not a halfback. 5/8. He bought a half and got a free one from the dispensary. That's nice.
5'8", not his height.
Not his height. And it's a rugby card. It's from 1977 rugby card of Paul Hayward for $15 on Australian eBay. So you can buy that. Buy Warren Fellows' book. Holy shit, that's a crazy story.
What a story.
One of the weirder ones we've encountered here, I would say.
The hurricane.
Yeah, I'm
telling you.
That's crazy shit right there. So, wow, that's wild shit. If you like that, and if you would not like Jimmie and I to wind up in a Thai prison, you can do your part by giving us a review on Apple Podcasts. That purple icon, give us 5 stars. It doesn't matter what you say. Say you're following instructions. Say you're following directions. It's really whatever you want to do there. Just helps drive us up the charts. If you want to be a bigger hero, go to shutupandgivememurder.com. All sorts of new merch up, everything like that. Get all your crime and sports and small town murder things there. Also, listen to Small Town Murder if you're not, because you're missing out. Crazy shit. Hillbillery and panhandlery as far as the eye can see the last few weeks. Check that out every Thursday. Every Friday, listen to P.S. I Hate This Movie, where I make fun of romantic comedies with my wife, Sarah, and we have a blast and laugh and till I can't breathe. So it's a good time. Listen to that. If you want to be you want to follow the show, let's say you want information, you could, when shows get rescheduled for and shit like that, you can find that very easily. We are at Crime and Sports on Twitter and Facebook, and at Small Town Murder and on Instagram there. And if you want to be just a hero of ours, damn it. You want to be a producer, who we're going to gush about in just a moment here. And also that means you're going to want bonus material, which we have a ton of on Patreon. You can find that or do all that very easily at patreon.com/crimeinsports. Thank you for everything you do for us. Or if you want to make a one-time donation, you can do that over at PayPal using our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com. That's also a good way to get a hold of us, just like that. And I think I need I think I need something, Jimmy.
Oh, James.
Jimmy, surprise me with these names like you're a rat jumping out of a shithole. Hit me with them, Jimmy.
This week's executive producers are Linda Campbell, Jordan Bennett, Simon Shed. Happy birthday,
hey,
buddy.
Happy Simon.
Jordan's
happy
husband.
Birthday.
Christina Ridenour, Connie DiMetzenary.
Nice try.
Ryan Dempsey, Crystal Gennaro, Erica Hawk, Laura Bergen, Susan Olgis. Thanks, Susan.
Thank you.
Tamara Schlichter. No. Raja Milavarupu. Morris Sparkman, Kevin Bartlett, Eric Thompson, Vanessa Kors, Kimberly Baum, Devin Bilick, John Moss. What is this? What did I write? Khaki, Surratt, I think. Casey? I don't know what that is. Josie Davis, Toby Moulton, Greg Iotti, Leslie Buffoni, Brent Jorgensen, Audrey Fitzsimmons, Martha Castantosen, Heather Knight, Katie Wellhausen, Daniel Bilick, Hillary Hoyas, Ashley with no last name, Robert Hudson, Nick Nasaby, Bill Fisher, Hafid Cristobal, May McCorvey, Caitlin Logan, Amanda Davis Marcinchuk, and David Lukasik, I think. Probably not. Thank you guys.
Close
you guys
enough.
are fucking amazing.
Thank you.
Other producers this week are Lisa Bilick, happy birthday, Joey Everly Thompson, Thomas Smith, Travis Marshall, Robin Anderson, Joanne Ahern, James Martyr, Colorado Dragonfly, Jude Kendall, Jackie Sukup, Carl Kirshner, Christina Womack, Trisha Lilly, Aaron Davis, Ryan Shank. Oh boy. Asian Letters. That's who it is.
Asian Letters.
I
yes.
have Chinese House,
I love when that
and a
came
G.
in. I love when that came in. I said, you can't even draw that, Jimmy. Never mind pronounce it.
That's what I did, is tried to draw it, and it's worse than my pronunciation. It probably says John. Josh Halsema, Christer, Joe Kennedy, Chrissy Sorensen, Ashley Henderson, Reagan Shaukley, Peyton Meadows, Tawny Wyatt, Jennifer Blakesley, Dewitt Destiny, Adam Dugdale, Catherine Fellows, Nathan Blaine, Jessica Stacy, Laura with no last name, Penelope Osaguera, Dick Minge, Lisa Cantor Jacobson, Jennifer Visconti, Molly McCarthy, Joy Pearson, Carla Ling, Cindy Wilkin, Brenda Likovich, Dean Reynolds, Brendan Hummel, David with no last name, Alicia with no last name, Solomon's World, Christina Rauscher, Yaviano Lorenzo, Jordan Cordova, Sean Watson, Jeremy Schweitzer, Kevin Eastman, Elizabeth Rankin, David Bagshaw, Patrick Lau, Susanna Platt, Chloe Carlson, and her partner's birthday is this week. Happy birthday, Ricky. Love you. Ashley Vio, Susanna Platt. I said that. Krista Walker, Lacey Ucharek, Ushrek.
Okay, it sounds hard.
It is. Bethany Moore, Destiny with no last name, Evan Grassel, Kayla Innes, Crystal Meehan, Ludo? Not Luda. No, I don't know. Trey David, I'm sorry. Ryan Covington, John Roberts, Allison Krause, Charlie Shute, Amanda Knight, Molly Stapleton, Rebecca Anderson, Sonia Smith, Nia Williams-Jones, David Owens, Tracy Poets. Annalise Benezzi, I think, Abby Tanner, Sarah Wolford, Robin O'Brien. No, that's Rob. Sorry, Rob. Talia with no last name. Chris DeYoung, Brad Cask. I don't know. Those might be H's or S's or H's. I don't.
You're all confused.
Cody Leversey, Avon Mergen, Joseph Lusk, King Jaguar, Mary Heist, Rachel Sutton, Ashley White, Kristen Miller, Janice Hill, Amanda Unger, Ethan Palmer, George Warren, Andrea Piersdorf, Laura Taylor, Leslie Marks, Jordan Hall, Sarah Surridge, Brooke Kale, Alina Farika. Probably not. Plino HLN. I hope that's headline news and somebody over there is watching or listening. Jeremy McIntyre, Zachary Swindoll, Sonny Sanchez, Sassy Richardson. No, I don't know what that is. Kristen Richardson. So hopefully they're related and she can tell that person that I actually do care. Kyle Parks, Damon, Ann Brooks, Emily Martindale, Jeannie Andrews, Chad with no last name, Samantha Gillen, Bethany Mavronicals. That's probably not right. Karina Whitmers, Cash Brodus, Hannah Winchester, Brian Call, Jennifer Lee, Sally Blotno. No, Blotty.
Yeah, He gives up.
Rebecca Silverman,
Moving
Liz
on.
Franklin, Sammy Joe, Andrew Wolf, Lacey with no last name, Scotimus Prime, Joellis Lopez, Taylor Brown, Nancy Batt, Joshua Lawn, Kathy Longstreet, Chrissy Pietzmeyer, Patrick Haggerty, Michelle Paranude, Tacy Schwartz, Heather with no last name, Mary Townsend, Estray Lolita, and Alexandria Vasquez Salgado, Zach Halverson, Daniel Anderson, Heather with no last name again, Jen Papel, Lauren Kastenbauer, God damn it. Julianne Cook, James Warner, Aaron Kerr, Sarah Arundel, Christy Baxter, Amita Wild, Laura Steele, Taylor Odom, Anthony Litwiller, Michelle Maloney Malone, Harriman? Probably not. Drew with no last name, Marshall Howerka, Stephanie Martz, Brian Moran, Ray Demond.
Yeah, that.
Ina Schooner.
Doing great, Jimmy.
Do you see me at the end of movies?
Killing it, brother.
Yeah, at the end of movies, I'm like, no. Richard Tabor, Trisha Mobley, Caitlin. I'm not giving that a shot. Caitlin Cody, Kat with no last name, Colin Kufal, Rory with no last name, Michael Hummel, Ruby Schaefer, Bridget Labady, Lisa Dominic, Dylan Cade, Alex Johnson, Joe Cassidy, Jeremy Goodson, Paul Clifford, Hill Doug, I don't know what I did. Laura Shart, that can't be right. A. So. Brown,
I can only hope.
Brandon Neff, Alexandra Pans, Megan with no last name, Monica Clementrude, I think, Candace Pitcher, Sam Azaro. Heather Ballack, Megan with no last name, Stuart Caswell, Alexandra Pans, Julie Crook, I think, Stupid Martins, I got that one, Kyle Needham, Ashley Curran, Ed Rogers, Brittany Dunlap, Sterling Stiletto, Catherine Rowe, Zach Hines, Heather Stibe, S Asia, I think, S-A-Z-A. Don't look at me.
Sasia.
No, but that it's
Saza.
No, it's not one name. It's just S and then the last name.
I don't know.
Think. I hope.
I'm confused.
All right, Maggie Smith, Elon, Oliveira, Jim Trask, Troy with no last name, Sylvia Smith, Rick with no last name, Sheila Johnson, Kara Slavonic. Chris with no last name, Chanel Mendiola, Chloe Ross, Rachel Sutton, Devin Hammond, Dylan Murray, Elisa, Pete, Ryan Gray, Allison West. We're almost done. I swear to God, we're not. Elizabeth Cunningham. No, it's not. Carmignani. That's not Cunningham at all. Nick Kritzer, Bryson Robinson, Kimberly Wolfram, Daniel Robert, Tiffany Gregory, Chris Lorenz, Victoria Leach, Robin Abler, Danita, Sharish, Nicole Gonzalez, Shane Hampton, Adam with no last name, Simply Woo, Mark Green, Emily with no last name, Joel Bonner, or Bonaire, or Boner. Ryan Riker Grimm, Tony Palmer, Elliot 94, Aiden Telhay, I think, Everything But the Girl, Wes Mitchell, Kate Pantel, Autumn with no last name, Sam N, David Lenker, Amanda Scaloud, Brianna Roscover, P. Lowe, Samira Russell, Elizabeth Rapp, Jennifer Bradbury, Christopher with no last name, Danielle Dominichik. Brianna Jarvis, Charisse Yang, Ken Thompson, Stephanie Rogers, Colin Ann Lindsay, Katie Prevost, Josh Smith, Brooke with no last name, Joe Jeffers, Miles Behrens, Chris Garver, Kellyanne Monias, David Hansen, Dustin Say, Megan Tyner, Nick Spencer, Jane Kish, Jackie Banks, Brian Spink, Orlia McDonald?
Sure.
No. Blanca Fuentes, Claire Koenig, Benita Langle, Mike Beveridge, Casey Hammond, Jesse James, Brian Keithley, I hope that's the dude that makes motorcycles, Jay Hawkins, Craig Nicholas, Lisa Janine, Ashley Legg, Tammy Joy Schlichter, Mitchell Berkey. That is the second second Schlichter. I want them to be
that's
Art's family.
Is it Art's? They're just like, you know what? Art deserved it.
Yeah. Jenna Pridey, Maggie with no last name, Kathleen Schweitzer, Schweitzner. Joseph Voigt, Varna Blocker, Marky Peterson, Ryan Wolf, Travis Tessier, Big J LRG, Kim with no last name, Melissa Rosario. Happy birthday, Gianna De Luca. She's fantastic. Thank you, Gianna. Jason Hobbs, Norton, Shelly Ann Williams, Kimber Street, Kayla Kovalian. Good Christ! How much is a Covillion? That's what I'd like to know.
I think in the Sims game it counts as
a whole lot.
You can buy a whole furniture thing with
Crystal with no last name, Latasha Campbell, Grant Evans, Charmel Issa, Dylan Christian, Phil Jenner, Sharon with no last name, Jesse Medina, Hugo Gregory Taylor, Jeremy Jocks, Jack Mehofer. I got you, bro. Maybe I will if you'd like. Adrian Cathy, Meredith King, Aubrey with no last name, Grant White, Grant with 2 T's. That's a bullshit spelling. Katie Seal with that's her last name. Pot Valley 8, Deb Pinto, Ashley Williams, John Schiffer is celebrating his 30th anniversary and did it by donating to us because it's in quarantine and he can't take her anywhere.
Thank you.
Congratulations, John, and your wife. Jen Vogel, William Blood, Pamela Radford. I said and your wife because he didn't tell us her name. That's a growing problem, by the way.
No name.
They love to be like, please say something to my wife. And then they go, she'd love to hear her name. Signed, Joe Schiffer.
Yeah, thanks. Joe Schiffer's wife. Appreciate it.
The Joy of Flex. Do you see that? Because there's the Joy of Sex. That's Kevin Michael. Brandy Perry. Blair Hoffesmeister. No, Homeister. Katie Middleton, Ryan Benner, Katie Hewells, Shadow Exceed, Ashley Smodic or Smodich, Sam Kears, Shelley Steed, Mike K, Jessica Newman, Glenn Moir, April Kazier, Latasha Miller, Owen Brick, Rachel Benson, Austin Kukul Doll. Probably not. Megan Sheik, Christina Carpenter, Ben B, Alex Wickenkamp, Ben Williams, Lexi Lovell, Jennifer Falco, sorry. Tyus Perez, Jake with no last name, Brent Slowtuggin Jorgensen.
Perfect.
Tommy Nash, Justa Mankira, Ben Story, Jed Llewellyn Lewis, Michael S. with no last name. S, I guess his last name. Jason Kluga, Lauren Klum or Klumbo? No, I don't know what I did. Colomb? Probably not.
You know who you are.
Chris Kaiser, Charlie Butel, Amy Clifford, Travis with no last name, Drew Statham, Aaron with no last name, Nicholas Holt, Harmony Fisher, Phoebe Taylor, Jenny Lang, Amanda. Yeah, so that's the last part I'm going to get right. Soviardi? No. Natasha Jenkins, Jody Rusk, Mike Italag? Sarah Rose Dugan, Erica Honecker, Alicia Storm, Julie Stoltz, Jason McNutt, Gabe with no last name, Demi Wamsley or Demi, Lindsay Austin Brunton, Jessica Archer, Tim Westcott, Brent Ansel, Rita Merritt, and Taylor, probably of the clothing store.
I was going to say probably. Designer.
It's an amazing person. Katie George, Oscar Lundell, Amy Hunt's 44. She sent us a really nice email. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you.
Laura Norris, Anastasia Bergmeyer, Kelly G, Lisa Robinovich, Emma Scott. I said Laura Norris, Darwin Heron or Heron, Ryan Swift, Joshua Hinkmeyer, probably. Candy Carpenter, Kylie Schlabik, nope. Morgan Thumel, I think. George Ingram, Duncan Black, Christopher Johansson, Harrison Evers, Giovanni, probably. Fulton. Poor Giovanni. Married a dumb white person with a shit white person. Probably had a great Italian amazing last name.
Why would Giovanni change his last name?
To Fulton? Because it's a girl, right?
Giovanni?
I don't know.
No, Giovanni is a boy.
Giovone.
Oh, Giovone is a different name. Giovanni is a guy.
Probably married a dumb hillbilly with Fulton as last name.
Probably it.
Probably. Derek Adams, Caroline with no last name, Jack Walker, Cupcake, whoever that is, Byron Woods, and all of our Patreon donators. You guys are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, so much. Honestly, from the bottom of our hearts, man. Thank you guys for everything you do for us.
It's mind-blowing.
It is mind-blowing, and our minds are blown. So thank you guys. We really do appreciate it. Know that it's noticed, and know that it really does make a difference in our lives and the show and everything else. Jimmie, what if they wanted to tell you that you make a difference in their lives? How could they do it?
You can find me at Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter and Instagram. What about you?
You can find me at Jimmie P is Funny, or just copy and paste my last name and first name, I guess, from the show description, and you can plump it in there so you don't have to figure out how to spell a long Italian last name. Do that. Keep coming back. Keep finding us, everybody. This was a fun one, and we have more and more and more and more and more and more. And more and more and more.
Yes.
Live from the Crime and Sports Studios, everybody. We will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer.
I can really show you how to make some money.
And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.